Just about an hour east of Los Angeles in Fontana, California. In the shadows of the San Gabriel Mountains sits the 2-mile D-shaped oval we call California Speedway. Drivers are buckled up. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here's your Grand Marshal, Stevie Wonder.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Crank them up, gang. Crank them up. Man, fired up. Get up. Yeah, tempo up. I don't know where you at about that tonight. Talking too much. Tell me shut up. Well, I want to stop doing that. Just if you do put it back, you have to write down that you put it back. I just rather do it myself or have it written down so I can see it, you know?
Music icon Stevie Wonder telling NASCAR's legends to fire it up and get ready for racing here at California Speedway. Take a look at our starting grid. 29-year-old Kurt Busch becomes the 13th different pole winner in 2007. Picks up his 10th career pole. He'll be flanked by California native, reigning NASCAR Nextel Cup champion Jimmy Johnson. And while you take a look at where your favorite driver will be starting, let's visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the DirecTV Chevrolet, Clint Boyer, who starts back in 24th position.
Clint Boyer, Rusty Wallace with ESPN. You got us?
Get on there.
Hey, Clint, this is going to be one of the hottest days I've ever seen since I remember racing. What are you going to do to stay cool inside that car?
I just, I think got started a few days ago just trying to get yourself hydrated, be prepared for this. I think, Gil and everybody's done everything they can do to try to get me an aqueduct and everything in on me, but main thing is just be hydrated.
Clint, no, you can lock up a spot in the chase for the championship today. With that said, how aggressive can you be?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing we got to be careful of. We got to be aggressive, but we got to take care of business. This chase is very important to us, and we can solidify our place in it right here. So we're gonna race hard, but not do anything stupid.
All right, Clint, we'll be talking to you later. Have a good one, buddy.
Making the calls for Clint today on pit road will be his crew chief, Gil Martin.
Hey, Gil Martin, Andy Petrie up here in the ESPN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, Andy, I got you.
Hey, Gil, I can't remember it ever being as hot at a racetrack as it's been this week, and especially today. What kind of things on the car are you most worried about?
I tell you, Andy, I've never seen all the components on the car as hot as they are. I mean, the mirror's been falling out. Anything that's stuck adhesively, we've had to use wire ties on or anything. The wiring, we've had to lift it up off the roll bars some and space them out with some roll bar padding because, we've actually had some wires melt. Every piece of the race car right now is just brutally hot.
Yeah, I bet the crews are about as hot as that car is, too. What are you going to do about those guys to keep them cool tonight?
Well, hopefully the pit stop trainer's doing a good job with them guys. They've been training outside when it's 100 degrees. We're going to keep a lot of fluids in them right here, and we're just going to make some good stops all night long.
10-4, Gil. You guys have a good race. Good luck.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Drivers are buckled up. The engines have fired, and the heat is starting to come down a little bit. Earlier today, folks, it was over 107 degrees. It was 147 degrees on the racetrack. Hope the racing is just as hot as the temperature. We'll be back in just a moment. We welcome you back to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at California, presented by Principal Financial Group. It is hot, hot, hot here. And the heat is on as the late summer sizzle continues here in Southern California. Cars are rolling behind the pace car. And there's a look at the track and air temperatures right now. It has cooled down considerably from where it was earlier in the afternoon. Now, what should we be watching for here tonight? Who better to tell you than for the best in the business on pit road? Let's start first with Dave Burns.
Well, Doc, when you look at the 12 guys who are contending for the chase for the Nextel Cup right now at this point, the top 5 are locked in. They can race for the win, go for those bonus points. 6th through 8th are in pretty good shape. They just need to run sort of average well the next 2 weeks, and everything's going to be fine for them. It's 9th through 12th. Boyer, Harvick, Truex, and Busch who have a choice to make. They got to run with speed, but they've got to run with efficiency. They don't want to be the somebody has to have trouble that Junior or Newman need to get into the chase for the Nextel Cup. Jamie?
Well, Dave, you know, North Carolina is the mecca for stock car racing, but we're in California, so all eyes are watching the native sons. So who to watch for? Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, among others. The last native to win a cup race here at California Speedway was Jeff Gordon when he won for the 3rd time in 2004. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
Well, Jamie, as if the oppressive heat weren't enough, what about the blinding sun? For the first hour and a half of this race, drivers will be heading straight into it as they set sail down the back straightaway into turn number 3. To counter it, they're wearing special tinted visors. Now, normally on a very sunny day, they'd wear a visor like this, a blue blocker, to blind out most of the sun. But because this race ends at night, it's just not practical. They'd have to flip it up at the end of the race. So instead, they're using an amber-colored visor. Now, this filters out the glare and actually makes their line of sight a lot brighter. But most of all, it puts a golden tint on the Golden State. Alan?
Dave, this California track, Mike, this California track is one of the toughest on the circuit on engines. The engines spend a long period of time every lap in a dangerous RPM range. When you add in the extreme heat on the day, the degree of difficulty goes even higher. The bottom line on it is this: if a team that's contending for a spot on the chase has an engine failure today, they'll have a bad finish, and it can make their job that much harder next weekend in Richmond to lock in a spot in the playoffs.
Thank you, Alan. Hot temperatures mean a very hot, slick racetrack, and the air over the car can help or hurt you in the draft as we take a look at our draft tracks.
You can use your air in different ways. Take a look at Jeff Burton right now getting up on behind the rear bumper of Reed Sorensen. That air's packing up under the rear bumper of his car. He's going to get closer and closer, and the 41 car is going to lose the back of the rear, and it's going to slide up the racetrack because of the air packing up underneath. Burton pulls down into that clean air, getting good downforce, and makes the pass. Air, you can use it many different ways here at California Speedway.
That was Jeff Burton's car, who won the NASCAR Busch Series event here last night. Nine high-definition onboard cameras. We're riding along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts 7th in the Wrangler Budweiser Chevrolet. Greg Biffle starts 10th in the Aflac Ford. Tony Stewart 22nd at Home Depot Chevy. Jeff Burton 15th. The AT&T onboard camera. Juan Pablo Montoya 42nd, the Big Red Dodge. Michael Waltrip 25th, the Napa Auto Parts Toyota. Jeff Green 32nd in the Best Buy Chevrolet. You've already heard from Clint Boyer. And, of course, Brett Bodine driving the Chevy pace car. Be able to look back and watch this front row of the Dodge of Kurt Busch and reigning Cup champion Jimmy Johnson as they lead him down here to the green flag. Getting set for the green flag, 500 miles, 250 laps. The race to the chase is down to 2 races, this one and next Saturday night at Richmond, Virginia. Can the top 12 hang on? Can Earnhardt Jr., can others get there? We're going to find out because the pace car peels away. A crowd of over 90,000 on their feet as the green flag is about to wave on NASCAR's finest here at California Speedway. Kurt Busch said it was very important for him to lead the first lap and get those 5 bonus points. But take a look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is making a run from lap 1 on.
Guys, we talked about Dale Earnhardt Jr. He can't mess around at all. He's got to go forward. He's got to get that thing to the front, get those bonus points, and that's what's on his mind right now. But look behind you. They're using the 3rd lane, the 2nd lane. They're already all over this racetrack, and they're just not completed lap 1.
Look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Very aggressive here in the early laps. You got to wonder if that engine's going to hold up. This is one of the hardest tracks on engines, and they've had their share of engine problems.
Up very high, Kyle Busch way up rim right, and we saw a couple of cars running way up there in the NASCAR Busch Series event here last night.
I think these guys are now just trying to get that upper groove cleaned off. It's going to take them a little while just to get some rubber laid down up there and get that where they can run way up on the racetrack. And Kyle Busch is doing that now. He's just cleaning his groove off right now.
Guys, I'm real surprised that Kyle Busch went up there this early because this track's been sitting all night long. It's dirty on top of the track. You know, that's a lot of nerve. But take a look at this. He just got that momentum off of turn 4 right down to the bottom. And if you can take advantage of it, you better go for it. And he did it.
Big concern here has to be the engines and how long the engines will live here in this oppressive heat. I guess you worry about the RPM range.
Especially when you're running up high on the racetrack like you see Kyle Busch. That makes the engine turn, you know, quite a few more RPMs. So if you're worried about your engine, I'd want to try to keep that down a little bit. But these drivers are going to fight and try to find the fastest groove on the racetrack.
I'll tell you what, Andy, worse than that, did you see that sun going into turn 3? That's what these drivers are going to fight for about an hour until that sun sets behind the grandstands or the back wall over there, enter at turn 3. Can't hardly see anything. That's going to be a tough one.
And it's only going to get worse as the sun goes down. Rusty, how do you handle that at 190 miles an hour when you suddenly come off the corner and you can't see anything but this bright light in your eyes?
But Jerry, when you come down the back straightaway, you got a pretty good visual of who you're following and where they're at, how far ahead of you are. And also your spotters are helping you. They're helping you quite a bit. So, hey, this is a tough thing. When I used to race here, going into turn 3, that's one thing that's always concerned me early in this race.
31 car, last night's winner, Jeff Burton, looking for that first win here at California Speedway. Dave.
And talked with Rocky Ryan, the spotter for the 31 of Jeff Burton earlier today, about how he spots differently when Jeff drives this race at this time of day and with that blinding sun you guys are talking about. He said, I basically talk around his car a lot further out and in both directions. He says a lot of tracks, I don't tell Jeff what's going on way in front of him, but here I do. I tell him about the cars in front, the cars in back, much more information than I usually give him. And Jeff says, keep it coming. I'm not going to tell you to shut up.
You know, if a spotter's starting to aggravate you, you're going to tell them to shut up. But take a look at this, side by side already. 3 wide coming down the back straightaway into turn 3. Dave Blaney on the inside.
This is 28 through about 36 here. These cars all together battling for position. The 18th is Yaley, and he's in 29th position.
You have to love a racetrack that's as wide and smooth as this. And these cars can run 3, 4 wide, no problem.
Take a look at this front straightaway. We gain a lot of speed coming down the front straightaway. You get a draft, really let your car turn more RPM and run faster, and then you dive down to that bottom groove. And this is where it gets tricky because it's awful flat down there.
Battle for position. This is for 5th spot as Kyle Busch sliding right on by Dale Earnhardt Jr. to take the 5th spot away, and now will set his sights on the 12 car of Ryan Newman. Alan.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team knows that they have their work cut out for them if they're going to make this championship chase because they've got a lot of points to make up. They also know that in one race, they're not going to make up what's happened over the last 22 races. So their object is tonight, try and maximize the points that they can gain. That means get out, try and lead laps, try and win the race or get the best finish they can, and then hope some other people have some bad luck that gives them a shot next week at Richmond. That was the conversation just before the race from the 18.
Alan, that's about all they can hope for. He just needs somebody else to blow up, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just got to drive the race of his life. And if he can cause a failure by somebody else, which, Jerry, I don't know how you do that, but if you could, this guy's back in the game.
But it was back in the spring here in February that Earnhardt Jr. and his teammate Martin Truex both lost an engine, and Earnhardt Jr. finished 40th. But Andy, he can't worry about now today.
They just got to hammer down. Don't worry about anything. This team's done a great job of performing at the racetrack. They haven't had that problem. It's just been some failures that have caused them some issues.
Brad Doherty?
Yeah, Doc, I spoke with Tony Eury Jr. this weekend, and we talked about that exact thing. I said, you know, do you feel like you're snake bitten with your engine problems? You know, and they're running the SP2 package as opposed to the newer R07. He said no. He says we've had some things go wrong with our engines, and they've all just kind of added up. It's not one specific thing. So we're not concerned with that. He says, be honest with you, Brad, I'm not even concerned with the chase. We're going to go out. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to run as hard as we can. We're going to try to lead every lap and let the chips fall where they may. That's Tony Jr.'s attitude about this whole situation.
Well, Brad, I think it's a whole team's attitude. What can they do? They just got to run the race of their life, and the whole world right now is watching the 8 car to see if he's going to get in the chase. And he's our story right now early, but he is doing just what he's got to do. He can't think about the motors and all that junk. Just drive that thing. He's doing a great job right now.
Trouble on the racetrack here. Lap number 8, the 78 car. That is Joe Nemechek, who was driving the 78, had made the show. And apparently They must have an engine problem. We talked about how these engines are just stressed to the max here in the heat as the caution out will wave here for the first time on lap number 8.
We heard Joe Nemechek just say something broke. You know, this track is very hard on engines, but this is still way early to be having any kind of an engine problem, only 9 laps into the race.
Show you again what happened here a moment ago. Now from the onboard camera from Juan Pablo Montoya.
290.
Boy, that's not where you want to be when you're blowing up. Juan Pablo does a good job pulling down.
Come on, you're clear. Clear, caution, good job.
Nemechek works it to the top side and saves the car, doesn't wreck it. But Andy, you know, getting back to the motor on the 78 car, they build their own engine. They've been struggling with some of these motors all year long, and this is way early for having an engine problem here in California.
Yeah, this is one of the tracks, though, that just really stretches them to the limit. Brad?
Yeah, Andy, you know, I spent some time with Joe today, and he was so excited about the opportunity to run this Furniture Row Chevrolet. And he said, you know, they've got some things they've got to improve upon, but he was just looking forward to the opportunity of getting out there today and showing what he can do. He's a super race car driver, obviously being displaced out of the Ginn Racing opportunity. So tough break for Joe Nemechek today.
Under caution now, guys. Who's going to come in? Andy, crew chief, what are you thinking?
It's only 9 laps in. I don't know if you'll see the leaders come, but you may see some of these other guys come in, top off, get some tires. I don't know these race car drivers, though, Rusty, they always want new tires, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. 4 tires are your friend, that's for sure. But if you're in the back of the pack right now and you got a bad handling car, they're 9 laps into it, and you can pretty well tell if you're out to lunch. And if you are, get that thing down pit road and work on it.
If the leader comes, they'll all come. Here they come. Kurt Busch turns it left, and here he comes to the pit.
Follow the leader onto pit road at 55 miles an hour. It looks like a parade down pit road as they all come and peel off toward the pits. Let's go down to Dave.
And Kyle Busch has something he likes about his car. That's the rear grip he's got right now. What he doesn't like is that it doesn't turn as well as he'd like it to. They'll make an air pressure adjustment in these tires. Change 4. Mike?
Chad Knaus has said all weekend long he'd like the car to turn better in the middle. They'll make an air pressure adjustment on the 48 car and a 4-tire change in fuel. Alan?
And the leader down the bottom of the screen, Kurt Busch, will take 4 tires, reporting his car good for the first 5 laps of the run. Then the handling begins to deteriorate. They are expecting a lot of people to take 2 tires and that they may give up some track position. I've only seen one off pit road really quickly so far.
Here's the scramble off of pit road. Casey King gaining 3 spots from the Gillette Evernham team. Kurt Busch lost a spot. And how about Matt Kenseth, who started way back in the back of the pack at 36th position? He gains 10 spots up to 9th.
Well, don't get too nervous right now. We're only 10 laps into this thing. And to be quite honest, I'm real surprised that many people pitted. I wouldn't have thought they had enough time in their tires for that.
Well, I think when you see the leader come down, if he'd have stayed out, I bet half the field would have stayed out.
Possible. Whoa, contact on pit road, and that's going to hurt. That's going to leave a mark. The 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya and Carl Edwards, the collision, trying to get in and out. And when that happens, who's at fault? Who's in a combination?
Oh, man, I don't know. But I'll tell you, that 99 car had a great car, and he just better hope he didn't tear up the suspension on the front of that car, because if he did, it's going to be a long night for him.
Thank you, Steve. Back at California Speedway, under caution for the 2nd time today. Debris on the racetrack on lap 15. And there have been some issues on pit road with that car. Greg Biffle in the 16 car. And, of course, he's had troubles on the track with the handling on the car. But here's what happened on his pit stop just a moment ago. Let's listen in.
Come on, back him up, back him up, back him up. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Sorry, guys. I thought it'd stop better down on the concrete.
You heard the NASCAR official telling him to back it up, back it up, back it up. If you get over that line, they tell you to back it up before you service the car, or else it'll cost you a lap.
Well, you got to be inside your pit box and slid through it. They did the right thing by backing up and fixing it, but he's had bigger problems. He's been really loose, and they're working on the car right now.
Set for the restart, the brothers Busch, the older brother Kurt, the younger Kyle, as they ride 1-2, and Jimmy Johnson in hot pursuit, headed back to turn 1. And look back there, Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, getting a little racing.
This racetrack is so wide that on the restarts, guys, you can really go for it. You can run 2 and 3 wide, and when those tires are cool, you're going to see a lot of these drivers just getting very aggressive, getting all the spots they can, because as the tires warm up, they don't handle as good.
Looking back at Casey Kane, the right side of your screen, in the 9 car, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, who's already locked in the chase. 38 car, David Gilliland right beside Casey Kane. As you're looking back from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s onboard camera off of the rear bumper.
Now, we talk about engine RPM, but right now the track's pretty slick. Engines are probably about a couple hundred RPMs less than what they're going to be tonight, Andy. I'd say that not a big concern at the moment, but later on, probably going to get worried about this.
It's going to be, as the shade goes on the racetrack, lap times come down and engine RPMs go up. And a lot of these guys will put tape on the grill and some other things as that temperature comes down so they can get a little more downforce on those.
Great battle here back and forth between the 24 and the 8 car. 24 made the pass, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, not right now. I'm coming back by you. Here comes Denny Hamlin back by. But the 24 car, Dave was making a move, and now he's dropping back.
Yeah, and they're one of those guys that can race well here, race as hard as they want to, being locked into the chase. Started 16th today, raced his way all the way up to 9th on that first run. And, you know, really when you look at it, all the success Jeff has had here and the way he's been running this year, that was all pretty much on speed. When they had a chance to change the car, they really didn't do much of anything. Slight air pressure adjustment to keep up with the track on that first stop.
Hey, I'm surprised these guys aren't having more problems than they are. All week long, they complained about the car sliding around the racetrack a lot, and especially off of turn 2 where the racetrack flattens out pretty bad. But as this racetrack gets night, these cars aren't going to slide at all. These things are really going to get hooked up with the cooler track temperature.
One of the drivers who has never won at California Speedway, this may surprise you because this guy's been good everywhere he goes, is the two-time NASCAR champion Tony Stewart, who started back in 22nd position. Tony Stewart right now, you know, trying to make his way toward the front. He's being shown in 12th position.
Well, if anybody can drive a loose car, it's Tony Stewart. I mean, he's used to driving those dirt cars, and he likes to run these things sideways, and he's getting it done. Crash.
The 19 car, Elliott Sadler, spins it, stays down out of harm's way. Former winner here. Doesn't seem to have any contact, but it will bring out the yellow flag for the third time.
Looks like a little bit of contact on the left rear quarter panel. Jerry might have got hit there. Flat right front tire. Let's take a look at this replay and see if it came down here. See how they ended way up top of the racetrack and the real slick stuff. We saw that a lot last night in the Busch race, and about 3 cars lost it by running too high. Elliott kind of got out of shape there, but he saved it, and that could have been a big one, guys. Dale, I'll tell you, the top of that racetrack is awful loose, and these guys are running so high last night in the Busch race, and why they would run so high early in this race is beyond me. What do you think?
Well, I think they're just searching for some grip, Rusty, as much as they possibly can. But being good friends with Elliott, we traveled out here together for the last couple of days and spoke with him just this morning. And he's not been happy with his race car. They seem to be able to qualify extremely fast. But just like at Michigan, whenever they qualified well there, they just cannot get a handle for these things during the race. And I think we see he and Casey both struggling a little bit. Scott Riggs didn't make the race. So they're really having a tough time whenever it gets down to race conditions.
You know what, Dale, talking about that, I was talking with Donnie Wingo earlier, and he says Montoya, Juan loves to run high on the racetrack. He loves the grip. And I mentioned the same thing Rusty did. I said last night we saw guys, Denny Hamlin in particular, getting up there and busting their rear ends. And he said the reason why is because of all the dirt and dust. He says there's a ton of grip up there until they get in the speedy dry up there. But until then, they can run.
Let's see if we get any fakes on pit road. Will they come? Will they stay? Nope. Here comes Kurt Busch. He stays, and it looks like Kyle Busch will stay on the racetrack, but Kurt Busch headed down pit road along with Jimmy Johnson. But here's a whole line coming in. They just pitted on lap number 8, and we're on lap 23, but they are on pit road once again.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. stayed out.
Mike?
And Doc, Jimmy Johnson still liking the car to turn a little bit better. The call right now and expectation is for a 4-tire change. Also looking for a chassis adjustment. You see the wrenches in, pretty big turn on both sides. And they go to the work on the left side, 4-tire change for the 48. Alan?
And a 4-tire change for the leader, Kurt Busch. Your strategy kind of framed by being in that bubble spot on the chase. You can't take a chance. You got a good race car, come in, get your tires, play it a little bit conservatively. That's what they've done.
Third caution flag of the day. Half the field has come in, but the 5-car of Kyle Busch and the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. stayed on the racetrack. Let's go back down to our pit studio where Brent Musburger has a very special guest to visit.
Indeed, I do. A man who has given us some of the sweetest sounds in the world, Stevie Wonder. And of course, Stevie, you fired up the engines. That was a different kind of sound that you got when you cued them. Tell me what your reaction was when you heard it out there.
I have decided that I'm not going to be a singer anymore. I'm going to be a race car driver. Without question. Well, today's my son's birthday. He's 6 years old. And we said, what do you want for, a birthday present? He says, well, I want to be a race car driver. And I said, well, Kylan, we're going to try to make this happen. So Kylan and his nephew, who's older than him, Miles, my grandson, and his friend, they're all here. Brandon's here. They're all having a great time. So,
Stevie, that's wonderful. So many people would wonder, when you come to an event like this, how do you experience it? How does Stevie Wonder feel a grand setting like this?
This is my first time ever at a race, car race experience. But I have to commemorate your network for what they've done with Special Olympics, and I would hope that maybe you will make it possible for every single person who is blind or with low vision to experience what this is, because it's an amazing experience. I'm telling you, I want to be a race car driver. You going to sponsor me? What's up?
Hey, Stevie, all you got to do is turn left, partner.
Tap my left shoulder for the left, neck for the middle, and right to the right. We'll be hooked up. We'll be straight.
What do you think, Dale? You want to sponsor him?
Hey, he's got it all down pat. He's already talking about sponsorship, so he's got it. He knows what this is all about.
It's amazing.
All right, Stevie, it is so nice to have you with us.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for bringing the family and everybody. Have a great time here this afternoon.
Look at that. Look at that.
We send it back up on top. I tell you what, you want a sense of humor? You hang out with a Hall of Famer like Stevie Wonder, Doc.
Thank you so much.
How about that? A 19-time Grammy Award winner. And boy, he walked up to the stage during the pre-race festivities and just started singing, and this crowd ignited. I mean, they were, he just started singing about it, and the fans and the drivers were loving it. Great to have Stevie here at his very first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series event.
Well, Doc, that was really cool. There's no doubt about that. But one thing that's really cool also is Dale Earnhardt Jr. stayed out. He's in second place right now, and he's got a chance to get 5 points, and that's what he's going for.
And that 99 car, Carl Edwards, now after that pit road wreck, he's all the way up to 7th place with these guys pitting.
Top 5 cars stayed out. Kyle Busch, Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, and Casey Mears. The 5 points you get for leading a lap. The question is, can Earnhardt Jr. get by the 5 car and lead a lap? He's going to try. Green flag waves.
This turn 1 is going to be really cool. Who gets the best trip? If Dale Jr. can hook that baby on the bottom of the racetrack, but now it looks like he's going to commit to the top because if 5 went to the bottom, pick up the throttle, no gainer right there. In fact, he's losing just a little bit.
Earnhardt Jr. chasing a car and a team he'll be driving next year in 2008 for Hendrick Motorsports. As he leaves DEI, here's Junior in turn 3, goes to the bottom of the racetrack, but Kyle Busch slams the door.
Now, one thing I'm amazed about, they're way low on the racetrack. In fact, half the car underneath the white line, and that's something they never usually do, but we saw it a little bit last night, guys.
This track is so wide, you'd think you'd have enough room to race between that white line and the wall, but they're looking for some extra racetrack. If they're not below the line, they're up against the wall looking for that extra 4 feet.
We know the guy that won the race last night, Jeff Burton, he worked that bottom groove really good. I mean, he was really getting some grip down there, and the rest of the field was way up high in the racetrack like they're right now.
Here's a gaggle of cars on the right side of your screen. A lot of these cars pitted, and they are trying to work their way back to the field. The 20 car and 11, these are teammates for Joe Gibbs Racing. That's Hamlin and 20. Here goes Junior now on the inside. Can he get there? Although the 5 car is really good up off the corner.
Well, guys, all he cares about is leading that just one lap, get those 5 points. And if he can get that nose in front of the 5 car, Kyle Busch, a mission accomplished right there. That's what he's got to do right now.
Here's Jimmy Johnson, 3 wide on the bottom under David Gilliland. These guys are racing all over the racetrack.
Gilliland's car looks like it's a little bit out of shape right now, guys. Pretty loose. He's in the middle of the track. See Casey King go around outside him, and Jeff Gordon, he made a good move too a little while ago there.
Now, ordinarily in the old days, you could go to someone's spotter and say, give me a break here. Let me just get a nose ahead of you and get one lap, and I'll give you the lead back. But you're talking about Kyle Busch, and he's trying to protect his brother, Kurt Busch, who's the one Earnhardt Jr. is chasing to get in the chase.
I don't think he's protecting anybody. I think he just wants to lead this race. He's not going to let anybody get in front of him.
So you're saying blood's thicker than water, right?
I got to believe that. 17 car of Matt Kenseth, who won here back in the spring, all the way from 25th position back in the spring. DJ?
Yeah, what an incredible strategy they've put forth so far. They've got a great race car. We said earlier in the show that Matt Kenseth loves these slick racetrack, but they played their strategy right. They got 2 tires the first caution, gained them 10 spots. They got 4 tires this last time, got themselves up there, and Matt's doing a great job right on the bottom of the track. That's incredible.
From 36 starting position all the way to a battle for second in 29 laps. He can't quite get there. But Matt Kenseth, who is the winningest driver at this racetrack, he's won 6 times. 4 times in a Busch car, twice in the Nextel Cup car, and trying to sweep 2007 on the bottom of the track. Trying to make the move inside the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
If that 17 car can work with the 8 car down the straightaways to get some draft going on and shoot him past that 5, you got to believe that's what Dale Earnhardt Jr. is thinking right now. I can't give up because I'm close to getting these 5 points.
He could drive a mobile home between them right now. Look how wide they run here in these corners. They get so much room to race here. It's just unbelievable.
And the line the 17 car is using coming off the corners, like he goes up on top of the ski slope, it comes all the way down across the racetrack to get that momentum inside of the 8 car. Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the man who won here in 2005 at the age of 20 years and 4 months, Kyle Busch, the leader right now. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at California, presented by Principal Financial. These beautiful aerial shots from high above California Speedway brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Completely different lines by 3 different drivers. Kyle Busch, the 5 car, is the leader, left side of your screen. The 17 car now solidly in second place is Kenseth, and the Chevy, the car number 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in third.
Look how the momentum is on this 8 car, how he goes by. Got a little tire rub on the 55 car, it looks like.
Looks like he might have gotten in the back of somebody. The top of the fender looks like it's knocked down on Michael's car, rubbing that tire. Take a look at Menard. He got a big run down that back straightaway up on the 55 of Michael. Michael might have to bring that thing in and fix it right now, but the guy back on pace, 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., he just got past the front of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, I saw just a little puff of smoke off of his fender there when he dove down in the corner, and that car traveled down on the fender row on the tire.
Now it seems like the 8 cars moved up high. A lot of these guys very high. You see the 55 now trailing a lot of smoke. And Andy, how long can you as a crew chief allow that to happen before you got to call him in?
That's a little bit more smoke than I want to see. I don't mind seeing, like we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car go in there and puff a little smoke when the car goes down, but you don't want to see that smoke carry all the way into the corner like we're seeing with the 55. It's just a little bit to work, would worry me a little bit, maybe a little too much.
We are being told from spotters that there was contact with the 88 car of Ricky Rudd. And speaking of Ricky Rudd, congratulations on a major milestone, his 900th career start. Only the second driver in NASCAR history to reach that milestone. The other one was the King, Richard Petty, who logged 1,185 starts prior to his retirement. Speaking of Ricky Rudd, driver of the number 88, our Aflac trivia question: where did Ricky Rudd make his very first career NASCAR Nextel Cup Series start? What do you think, guys?
I can't answer that one. It's got to be some short track in Virginia. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Hold on to it. That thing's on fire. Got some more coming here. Hold your line. All right, come on down. Get that thing stopped and get out of it. Get that thing stopped and get out of it.
Heavy contact and
motor blowed up or something.
Safety crews trying to get out to Michael Waltrip quickly. We saw the tire rubbing.
The flames are getting into 3.
Michael is yet to get out of the car. The flames are there. They're trying to get to him. They have a sense of urgency to get him out of the car. Here comes the fire extinguishers. Michael finally trying to get out. The Hans device and some of the connections have him hung there. They're trying to pull him out of the car, and Michael is a very big guy. Over 6'5", 250 pounds, and they finally get him out of the car, and they get the flames extinguished.
Boy, it really looked like he struggled getting out of the car. It took a lot longer than I would anticipated that happening. And he's breathing all that fumes, all the stuff from the fire extinguisher. But Mike looks pretty good right now.
I was worried about that left front tire rubbing. Just rubbing just a little more than I'd like to see it.
Yeah, before I say anything, I want to see the replay, see what's going on, because Andy, that left front was smoking hard. Let's take a look at him getting down the back straightaway and see what happened here.
Heard a spotter say something blue. It must have been, it was that left front tire, looks like. And boy, just took, what did I get, an oil line?
Yeah, that's what the spotter said. It looked like it blew an engine. And that's the reason he said that, because that tire blew out and probably sheared an oil line off the oil pump or something on the engine. And that's what made all this fire.
You know, they always tell you when you're starting to learn how to drive, and NASCAR tells you also, guys, if you got a tire rub, it's generally not going to get better. Get it in and fix it. But he thought that maybe it might go away, and it didn't. Boy, big explosion on the left front tire, oil lines, everything, and what a tough deal.
Hold on to it. That thing's on fire. Got some more coming here. Hold your line. All right, come on down. Get that thing stopped. Get out of it.
Watch the window net.
Stop and get out of it.
He's trying to get the window net down in a hurry.
Motor blowed up or something.
You can see fire coming up in the cockpit, probably from the shifter tunnel or something inside the car there. There's a lot of heat inside that car. These guys wear fire protective clothing, and that's what probably saved Michael from getting burned or hurt worse in this car, and that gave him time to get out.
Well, when the tire blew, guys, it was so violent, it just caught on fire immediately, and he didn't hit the wall hard or anything. He just kind of slammed it a little bit, but right now he's disoriented. There's smoke inside the car he can't see. His spotters helping him to slow down and get the car stopped. And Mike did hear enough to get the window net down, which is really good. But again, good job getting that thing in.
Fourth caution flag today. Leaders now will all head on pit road. As the 5 car heads down, that is Kyle Busch. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, guys, Matt Kenseth started 36. He worked his way up to second. How'd he do it? He took right sides only on the first stop. This time it's going to be 4 tires, no changes. He said the balance on that car is good. He's just lacking a little grip. Dave?
Leader Kyle Busch just a little bit tight around the center of the corner. Air pressure adjustment again for the 5 car. Mike?
Greg Biffle real loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 1 pound out of the right rear. A 4-tire change, the call for Biffle. Alan?
Trying to get the front end of the 8 car to hook up a little bit better for Dale Jr. A 4-tire change and a little adjustment.
Watch the race off of pit road. The 5 car, Kyle Busch getting, he will not lose a thing. Matt Kenseth gains a spot. Truex Jr., great pit work for the DEI crew. He gains 3. Dale Earnhardt Jr. loses 2 positions. Tony Stewart up 3 into the top 10 here, back in 9th position. Crew camera, front tire carrier, Dale Long, Lexington, North Carolina on the 07. Clint Boyer. Got to get that tire that rolled away, get back to the wall, and get over to this side.
That's a lot of work for one guy there, carrying all those tires, catching the ones that are flying off, fix the fenders.
And how they pick up that heavy tire and throw it right on those 5 lugs nut studs and don't miss a trick. That is, those guys, I wouldn't want to do that job. That's something.
Got to be an athlete to be able to do that. But what about the answer to our trivia question? Where did Ricky Rudd make his very first career Nextel Cup Series start? Could you guess? It was Rockingham, North Carolina in March of 1975. He finished 11th. He will end his 28-year career here this year.
Welcome back to the Sharp Aquos 500. Folks, let's recap what's happened so far with the McDonald's race rundown. A little bad communication to the pit on board. Juan Pablo Montoya just plows into Carl Edwards, who wasn't told he was coming. And then a very ugly looking incident as a left front tire blows for Michael Waltrip here, Dale Judd, and that could cause real problems.
Yeah, that's no fun. Probably a driver's worst enemy is seeing that fire right there, and glad Michael was able to get out of his car and everything okay. Just another bad day for the team.
And a bonus for Dale Jarrett, I should say, for a guy Junior. Watch him cross the finish line first right there. Now, what about that? How can you get points for that down at pit road? How can that happen, Brad?
You get him wherever you can.
That's right. He's taking advantage of his opportunities. Good job of that, too. That's heads up racing.
And Junior right now is 111 points out of 12th. Kevin Harvick, incidentally, has slipped to 12th place. Back we go to Jerry.
Thank you, Brandon. The one car, that is Martin Truex Jr. there. He is currently 9th in the point standings. As we, why don't we get you up to date on what's happening among the lead cars, starting with our leader, the 5 car of Kyle Busch and Dave Burns.
And as you might expect, he's very happy with his race car right now, Doc. This weekend has been different for this team. Alan Gustafson, crew chief, told me this morning, this is the first time we've had the luxury of doing some experimentation on a given weekend. A strong top 10 run last week, all but assured them a place in the chase. So we tried a few things this weekend just to experiment, and a few of them have paid off. Alan?
Well, Martin Truex Jr. started the race in 8th position. He has moved up now to the number 2 spot, 158 points ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr., whom he's racing with for that spot now. And ironically enough, that's the guy he needs to beat to lock in his place in the chase. No complaints about this number 1 car so far for Truex Jr. As for Earnhardt Jr., the last 5 laps have been almost a non-stop stream of descriptions about his car on the team radio to his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr. Right now, although you wouldn't know it because he's moving up and passing people, Earnhardt Jr. doesn't sound terribly happy with the way that race car is driving. Jamie?
Alan, behind him is Matt Kenseth. He just actually came over the radio to Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, and said, this car started off good, but it's so loose, I'm about to wreck. You see him running on that inside line right now. Robbie Reiser just told him, if you can't hang on, you got to come in, but if you can hang on, just stay out for me. Alan?
And the early leader of the race, the driver who started on pole, Kurt Busch, one of the guys trying to lock in his place in the chase tonight. Kurt, remember, got shuffled back as far as 15th by some pit strategy that others took earlier in the race. Right now, the back end of his car sliding around the racetrack, also losing the front end at different spots in the corner. And Kurt not as strong lap time-wise as he was before. Mike?
Jimmy Johnson made a rare appearance in the Busch Series last night here at the California Speedway, but from that he took a little bit of information. He said he found out how the high line would work for him. That's where he's been most of the night. This morning I spoke with Chad Knaus. He said his big concern was getting this car to turn in the middle. They've achieved that. The problem is, car's just a little bit too loose right now. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart, he's never won here at the California Speedway. In fact, his best finish has been 8th, but the track conditions are very much to his liking. He likes it when it gets hot and slick because of the car control. He learned this quite a bit back in his dirt tracking days. It's working out pretty well for him right now as he's running very solid in the top 10. Alan?
And an update on Casey Mears, who's running in 8th place now. Bakersfield, California native. This is about 160 miles from his hometown. Casey did not pit at lap 24. He did pit at lap 41. He started the race with a car he felt very comfortable in, and they're solidly in the top 10 right now. Dave?
31 car of Jeff Burton running just behind them. Jeff has been fighting a car that's been just a little bit loose in and tight overall. Jeff actually pretty happy with his car most of the weekend. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon, trying to stay on the same page with crew chief Steve Letarte. They made some changes to the car to make it work better through the center of the corner, but Steve reminding his driver, you know what, make sure you tell me if you are changing your entry to make the center of the corner better. Don't let me over adjust and mess up a different line you might be trying. Guys?
Great update, guys, on the top 10 here. But one of the cars that we're talking about that a lot of people were concerned with as far as the race to the chase is the 29 car of Kevin Harvick from nearby Bakersfield, California. Now, there's Harvick. He qualified 12th. He is being shown back in the 18th position, and now he has fallen from 10th in the points right now all the way back to 12th, just 101 points in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Alan?
And they have been fighting a lack of front-end grip on this 29 car all race long, Doc, which when you get in a situation like this, when you close up behind someone, just gets exaggerated even more. They've made a few adjustments on the pit stops they've made. Kevin wants them to go a little bit more again on the next pit stop. Try and get that car faster.
19 of Elliott Sadler came down across the racetrack a moment ago. The former winner here picked up his 3rd career win at this racetrack. And a slowed abruptly now going beneath the line on the apron.
Jerry's got a right front flat. He just nurses this thing back, and that's what he has to do. If he goes too fast, that tire's going to explode and tear the right front fender off it. So he can only go so quick. The tire's ready to come apart right now. And we saw what happened to Michael Waltrip. If you go too quick, he could just explode that right front corner, but Elliott knows that. He's on pit road right now.
66 of 250 laps in the books here at California Speedway. Kyle Busch showing the way, Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd.
Well, we welcome you back to the California Speedway. And Dale and Brad, the story within the story now is becoming Junior versus Harvick. Harvick sitting about in 14th place right now, 113.7. And Earnhardt now has led 2 laps thanks to that pit row. Okay?
Well, I'll tell you, he can't. You're still on the pit road passing thing. But he's come out of the box and done everything he's had to do thus far. He's running really hard. He's driving the wheels off that race car. Kevin Harvick's lurking, and there are a lot of guys in that top 15 who are just lurking. But Earnhardt's done everything he needs to do.
They're doing everything, and just before that caution came out, I'd been paying attention. The last 6 laps, Earnhardt Jr. had run quite a bit quicker than Kyle Busch was at that time. So they're doing their job by being up front.
Coming around now, let's go back to the dock.
Great information, guys. Indeed, as Dale Jarrett said, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had been running laps faster than Martin Truex and the leaders. So as maybe he can get back up there. Take a look back from our Chevy pace car onboard camera. There's the 70 car. Johnny Sauter, you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there. He is in 2nd spot in the standings behind Martin Truex. And they have waved off the start. NASCAR flagman Rick Monroe holding up the yellow flag, and the lights will come back on here at the racetrack.
Guys, one thing you got to remember, Martin Truex, he was so good at Michigan, and a lot of guys yesterday said, take a look at the #1 car at Truex. He was fast in practice, so him leading this race right now, I don't think surprises anybody. With that fast car at Michigan, and yesterday, hey, this adds up.
This is the 2nd major event we've held at California Speedway this weekend. There was a NASCAR Busch Series event that was held here last night, and there was a violent impact on lap 67 entering turn 1. Now watch the left side of your screen. Brad Keselowski in the 88 car.
Violent impact hits the soft wall over 190 miles per hour.
42 car was A.J. Allmendinger, by the way, driving for Chip Ganassi and Felix Sabates. The one involved, that was J.J. Yeley and the 0 of Eric McClure. They took Brad Keselowski out, airlifted him to Loma Linda Medical University here down toward Los Angeles. They thought he may have some fractures in lower extremities. Here's the best news. The CT scan x-rays of the left ankle and chest, no fractures, a bunch of bruises, and kudos to NASCAR for having a safe race car. Brad Keselowski will be evaluated further by Dr. Jerry Petty, a neurosurgeon back in North Carolina this week, but nothing broken despite an impact at over 180 miles an hour.
Thank God for the soft wall and the Hines device. Those 2 things right there really helped Brad Keselowski last night. And that's one thing about NASCAR. They're all about safety, and you got to hand it to those guys for paying attention to that, you know? It's just something that really makes me feel good when I see a good, nice outcome.
Jeff Burton won that race, picking up his 3rd win of the year, 25th of his career, to move into 4th all-time in career wins in the NASCAR Busch Series. Set for the restart here at California Speedway. The 70 car moving down. The 1 car behind him, Truex Jr., is the leader. Earnhardt, the 8 car, is 2nd, and the 5 of Kyle Busch is 3rd.
And boy, he just opened the door up right there. Truex did. He went to go around the outside of the 70 car of Sauter. And man, he just committed to the top, and then 8 car had to go to the bottom. That really helped him. Now, clean air, guys. That's what it's all about here at California Speedway, and Junior's got that right now. Really makes the car handle a lot better.
Seems like Junior's better after they run a few laps. This 5 car right on the restarts has been the fastest car. Then after they run 5-10 laps, it looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car gets better. It's going to be interesting to see now how he can handle this car in clean air.
You know, I see the 1 car and 8 car running so close together right here. It makes me think about all the engine problems they've had. Will these engines hold up? They've had a lot of engine problems, and so Junior can't stand any more of that problem right now with the position he's running in. Alan?
Hey, Rusty, during that caution flag, while he was motoring around the racetrack, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a long conversation with his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., and he said, I'm not going to be your best friend tonight. I'm going to complain a lot about the car. I'm going to complain about the conditions, because it's hot out here, it's tough racing, and I'm just not going to be your friend tonight. I thought it was kind of funny.
Well,
Dave?
Yeah, that is pretty funny, Alan. And a little comedy as well with the 5 crew. Kyle Busch trying to keep his guys loose on the first pit stop, first round. They just just killed him. Those were Kyle's words. On this last pit stop, they lost a couple of spots and just trying to keep them loose. He said, that's all right, guys. It felt like a good stop, but then Alan Gustafson reminded him that they made some significant changes on that car, slowed him down just a little bit, and that's why he lost a couple of spots on pit road.
Thanks, guys. The 5 car is very good, as you guys mentioned, on the restart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now trying to hang on that bottom line, but we're riding along with a car that has really been awfully good here the last 10 laps. That is last night's winner, Jeff Burton.
Looks like they got his car tuned up on that last pit stop, too. He's been hanging around the top 10, top 5, but he's now up here challenging these guys for the lead.
All right, you just wondered how fast these cars go. There's 202 miles an hour going into turn 1. Last night in the Busch race, we saw about 195, so just a little bit slower for the Busch Series than the Cup guys here. But, Andy, that's a lot of speed carrying down into turn 1, and it's pretty hot out there with no grip.
Watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second spot. More, DJ?
Yeah, just thinking about what Junior was telling Tony Eury Jr. there. I bet if he can make his car as he tries to take the lead here again, I bet if he can get that car to victory lane for it, he could probably find him a seat on his jet going home and get him home a lot faster than he would if he can get him to victory lane.
Yeah, that's not a bad point. It's a long way home, but if you can get a jet ride home, hey, that's what it's all about. We've been out here in California for a long time, and it's been really hot. But, hey, look at this action. 3 wide. Coming off of turn 2, and that's the flat portion of the track. Whoa, that's tight.
Bottom, middle, and top. It's the Jeff Burton sandwich. Earnhardt Jr. goes all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, jams the throttle, and takes the lead away from the 31 and the 5 car.
And we said Junior's got to run the race of his life. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to go for it, and that's what he's doing right now. They've got the 5 points. Now he's going for the most laps led. If they can stay up with the chassis, he's going to have a good finish tonight.
I love this format. You got these guys up the front racing hard. I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is racing for his life right here, trying to make that top 12 in points. And then you got Jeff Burton back here. He wants to get another win. He wants to try to get some extra bonus points when this thing does go into the chase. So I just love it. He's got a lot of, motivation for these guys to go out there and win races.
Dave?
And talked with Jeff Burton and crew chief Scott Miller in the hauler today before the race, and they were talking about how they came into this weekend attitude-wise. Wanted to try just a few things. I said, well, did you make anything significant gain-wise? And Jeff said, no, not really, but it got us to thinking about things we might try next week, things we might try 2 weeks down the road, things we have tried here and didn't work out. It got our minds working on other stuff we could do, and as we mentioned, they have the luxury in the space they are in this race to the chase.
Well, right now, Jimmy Johnson, just his last time by, was equaling the leader of Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now in speed. And the track's changed, but boy, one thing I'm noticing, guys, is the sun. Coming down the back straight, we're starting to get really bad on these drivers.
Jimmy Johnson has not led a lap today. He is a native Californian from nearby El Cajon down near San Diego. Ran the NASCAR Busch Series race last night, only his second start in the Busch Series, and now moving to the inside of the 31 car for 3rd position. There's Jimmy Johnson all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack. And up front there, side by side, is the 5 car. And Earnhardt, Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Earnhardt Jr. can't get much closer to the wall than he was a moment ago.
And Junior's thinking, Kyle Busch, you're aggravating me. I'm so tired of passing you. Hey, look at this sun. Really blinding sun. It's going to get worse, guys. Right in the windshield of these drivers, and it's really hard to see. Now, that's not real bad right there, but it's going to get worse. Dave?
And his crew chief on Jeff Burton's car, Rocky Ryan, telling him single file going in. That's good information as the sun gets in your eyes there. You need to know what the cars look like because you can't see all of them. But Jeff Burton may have a right rear tire going down. That was his self-evaluation. And he's now complaining about being loose in the car as well. So that's what alerted him. He's monitoring it. And we got a crash, guys.
Trouble on the racetrack. The 7 car of Robbie Gordon. And whoa, right across the racetrack and almost caught the right side of another car who was down on the apron. Robbie Gordon had been running so well in that 7 car. Had moved
Get on in here. Let's take it right to the garage. Take this over.
That's about as fast as I ever seen any car go down the racetrack backwards against the wall.
That was your...
He looked like he was running as fast backwards, Andy, as he was forward a little while ago. That was incredible how quick he was going.
But it felt fast, too, going backwards.
Yeah.
Robbie Gordon from Orange, California, one of the 7 California natives running here. He will turn in onto pit road at the very end down toward turn 1.
running about 140 miles an hour backwards at this point right now. The front end flies back around on the car right now, barely misses some of the oncoming cars. But boy, when he lost that car, that thing turned around on a dime and just flew down against this wall as it goes past us now. That's very unusual looking. When I was watching that, I went, man, don't believe I've ever seen anybody that quick.
That was our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer, in the 07, involved in this also.
He's up there scraping along that wall. Looks like he's going to have some damage also, too. That right front corner tore up pretty good, but it looks like the suspension's okay, Andy. So if they can pull those fenders out, get them off the tires, not lose a lap, he's back in the hunt.
Clint Boyer, who came in to this race 9th in the point standings, needed to finish 2nd or better to lock himself into the race for the chase. And with this incident, he'll be back toward the back of the pack. Lap 85, caution number 6. Now watch the 7 car right in front of Jeff Green here. The 7 car of Robbie Gordon Spit.
On the inside, all the way at the bottom. Come on, one more, come on. Come on.
Oh.
Clear.
Man, as a driver, you don't know which way that guy's going to go. If he's going to stay on top of the track, slide across. Pit stops are happening. We'll see what's happening here.
Kyle Busch leads him down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. stays on the racetrack. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, guys, Carl Edwards rebounded from those early mistakes early on. He's in his pit box now. They decided they are going to take the 4 tires because he needs an adjustment. He needs to tighten it up a bit, so it was worth taking the risk and taking 4 tires and losing some time. Dave?
For Jeff Burton, Jamie, they said since we potentially have a problem, let's go ahead and change 4 tires, no chassis adjustments, just to make sure there's nothing wrong with that right rear. Mike?
Jimmy Johnson saying the car's getting a little bit loose off turn 4. Otherwise, pretty good. A 4-tire change in fuel, no adjustments. Alan?
And Kurt Busch pits from 5th position. They made adjustments on the last pit stop. He liked it a lot. They're going to go a little bit more this time with 4 new tires.
Scramble off of pit road. Then you see that Matt Kenseth gains 8 spots. Brian Vickers in the Toyota up 12 position. You see Kyle Busch lost a spot. Kurt Busch was a push. Jimmy Johnson -3. You heard about the adjustments there because he was loose off of turn 4. Jeff Burton, they went to all 4 tires. He got a break because he thought he had a right rear going down. A big break for Jeff Burton on this caution flag. Great effort by the guys here for the 83 team. Brian Vickers getting on and off of pit road. Back with the green in a moment. Back at California Speedway here in Fontana, California. NASCAR Nextel Cup action presented by Principal Financial Group. We are under caution for the 6th time of day, coming out lap 85. Robbie Gordon having contact with the wall, backwards at 140 plus miles an hour across the start-finish line. Pit stops have been the order of the day as we head down to the pit studio. Brett Musburger, Brad Doherty, and Dale Jarrett.
Thank you very much. Dale, you just made a good point. It's not just Junior against Harvick. 4 guys are in play now, especially Boyer.
Yeah, they brought a lot more people into play, so he doesn't have to worry about just catching one guy, that one guy having a problem. There's 3 other guys now that can have problems that could bring him a lot closer to that 12th spot.
My question, though, would be why wouldn't Junior pit with all of the other leaders? I mean, it seems to me like he's got himself out of sequence now all of a sudden. That was really strange. What do you think?
You know, Brad, the only thing that I can think of, you bring up a really good point, but when we saw a while ago, his car was the best on older tires. He got the air pressures built up, and everything seemed to be better for him. That might be something they're looking at right now.
Well, let's check with Alan right now.
And we'll ask the man who made the decision, Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief. Brent, Tony, why did you not pit on that yellow?
Well, our car's pretty good, and it's coming in like 20 laps into a run, so I know the fast tires might have like 5-lap advantage on us right here, but you know, I didn't want to take a chance on messing up the balance, having to take 2 tires like some of them guys. So I'll just take my grain of salt here and run with 4 tires, and our car will come on here in another 10 laps, and we'll be really good.
All right, Tony, thanks. Good luck.
Perfect explanation and perfect timing. We come back to the green flag, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. older tires, but to balance what they wanted, his tires run better in long runs. If he can hang to the front, he will be very good, as you heard Tony Eury say, in the next 8 to 10 laps.
Yeah, if he can hang on to the lead here, these guys with fresh tires will have a big advantage on him in these early laps. See Kyle Busch in the 5 car here jumping on the 83 car of Brian Vickers right off the bat. Vickers got 2 tires that last stop.
And Vickers is one of the cars I really want to take a look at. He's been fast in the Busch race, fast in Michigan in his Cup car. He could be a factor before the night's over.
Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He's the other car up front that did not pit, along with Earnhardt Jr. now battling for the lead. Behind them is the 17 car, who also took only 2 tires. That's why they were able to make up so much time on pit road, the Matt Kenseth. More on Ryan Newman. Dave?
And when you're a driver looking for your car to improve during the day by making adjustments, you're glad when something happens like that last run. Ryan Newman said everything felt better on that last run, as now Junior gets the advantage going off of turn 2. But everything felt better, including rolling through the center, which was the main thing they've been working on, trying to get that car to do today. Doc?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ryan Newman both hoping their cars can improve here on long runs. Well, we told you there were just 2 events remaining in the race to the chase. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying again. Right behind him, in fact, just 17 points behind Earnhardt Jr. was Ryan Newman on the bubble. Can you get there, Ryan Newman?
Well, ever since they started the chase, we've been on the bubble, going back to 2005, we ended up 10th. 2006, we ended up 10th, and this year we're still fighting for 12th. So thankfully they moved it to 12. Otherwise, we'll be struggling to get to 10th. But either way, I'd rather be still in the fight, trying to get in, than be locked out.
He indeed is still in the fight, and he's fighting for all he can get today here, and that 12 car trying to hang up front. Speaking of hanging up front, here comes the 5 car. Going by the 8 car to retake the lead. And Andy, you talked about how good that 5 car would be with fresh tires, and he's proven it here early on. More on Earnhardt Jr. Let's go down to Allen.
Hey, Doc, just having a little flashback there when Kyle Busch got up to race Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember that great fight for the lead they had just before the yellow? When the caution came out, Earnhardt Jr. came on the radio, talked to his spotter, Steve Meal, and said, hey, tell the 5, that was fun.
You know, it worked. That was fun, that's for sure. You know, I was looking at the noses of these cars. The number 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the straightaway, looks like the nose is way up on that car. In the corners, just weigh it down like it is. But now watch it come up. You see it's a raise in altitude. Newman around.
Ryan Newman, you just heard the comment a moment ago.
Well, okay, Mike. Crank it up, buddy. Crank it up.
Right front tire looks like it may be down on the 12 car. You heard Dave Burns talking about how the handling, they were trying to get this car dialed in. Ryan Newman, though, the good news is he did lead a lap a moment ago and got those 5 bonus points.
Gonna have to come in and get him 4 new tires. So if you're racing hard with these guys, you see him underneath Jeff Burton here in this 31. Has to chase the car up the hill a little bit, and he wasn't quite clear, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, Burton got him in the back of the car, spun him. And he just slid up the front. And boy, you would think that Jeff could have got out of the throttle a little bit, but Jeff had somebody behind him. He just couldn't lift.
Sounded like Jeff Burton did get out of the throttle, but just couldn't stay off.
All clear. Caution's out. Caution's out.
Caution out for the 7th time a day here on lap 94. And there's a look at the frustration down in the Penske pits for Ryan Newman in the 12 car, who had just led a lap and was hanging in the top 5, but now spins to bring out caution number 7. Back with the restart in just a moment. Back at California Speedway, and just down the street about 20 miles in Anaheim, Sunday night baseball ongoing. The Los Angeles Angels, who lead the American League West standings by 6.5 games, taking on the Texas Rangers, up 5-4 in the bottom of the 6th inning. So much entertainment, sports entertainment happening here in Southern California, as we are back at California Speedway, where Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch are being shown 1-2, and it's all about 3, 4, 5 drivers trying to scramble to stay in or get in to race to the chase for the Nextel Cup.
And that position from 9th through 13th has been all over the board right now. Right now in the bump spot in 12th position is Clint Boyer. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is only 105 points out right now. He was 158 going into it. So he's had a big gainer. But I've been watching Kurt Busch. He's all the way up to 9th right now in the point position right now as the race is running. So he is really rocking himself up there.
Remember, the drivers that are locked into the chase, and that you are seeded based on the number of wins you have. You get 10 bonus points per victory. And Jeff Gordon has 4 wins. Jimmy Johnson 4 wins. So they would each get 40 bonus points. Tony Stewart has 3 wins. He would get 30, and so on. Remember that Kurt Busch has 2 wins. He can win the next 2 races possibly and get as many bonus points as anyone if he were able to stay in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
As good as that 2 car's running, they look like almost a favorite going into the chase.
All about momentum, and here they come down with a lot of momentum. Taking the green flag again, Kyle Busch, older brother Kurt Busch, Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Burton in the top 5.
Kyle Busch has been so strong in these restarts. He gets a lot of run, a lot of bite, and he just jumps out like he's doing right now. But the number 2 car of Kurt Busch, I've been looking at that car throughout the day. The nose on that car is very, very low to the ground, getting the best downforce, best aerodynamics. Pat Trice and his guys have really worked it out, where they figured out how to keep that car down and make it turn good. And that's what they really had to have about 4 or 5 races ago at Pocono, and they won that race. And that's one of the main reasons they brought this car here to California.
How does that happen? How do you struggle for the first 20 races of the year and suddenly you find something and then you're just almost unbeatable? You dominate Pocono, you get a great win at Michigan, and how does the light switch flip that quickly in a race team?
It's all about personnel, Jerry. It's all about working together and finding the right partner to work with. And Pat Trison has really lit that team up. He's kind of an old school crew chief that was able to take some of the engineers and make them work together. And DJ, I got to tell you, you and I have had several different crew chiefs, and they're all different, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are, Rusty, but Pat Trison, as you said, has done a terrific job, and sometimes all it takes is a little bit of a change. But I remember Pat Trison saying after Pocono that they had that car in the wind tunnel, and they saw something that was a little different than what he had seen with the Fords, and he applied some of his knowledge from Roush Racing for a lot of years to that Dodge, and it seems to have really helped them. And you were talking earlier about why they wouldn't have brought the Michigan car maybe. I think the Pocono car probably had made a little more downforce and maybe a little more side force, and with this not having quite as much banking, it gives it a lot better feel here at this Speedway.
You know, you're exactly right. I was talking to Trison, and Trison said, you know, I know what the Ford wind tunnel numbers are, and this Dodge has got every bit as much, if not more downforce than that Ford did. So Kurt Busch and Pat talked and said, we need more rear downforce. So they put a lot of attention to the back of that car, and evidently they found the right combination.
Got a glimpse a moment ago of great battles back here. The 31 car of Jeff Burton battling with the 8 car of Earnhardt Jr. for 3rd position. Now Jimmy Johnson goes by Earnhardt Jr. right up in front of him, and that is for 4th and 5th.
Junior's struggling right now with these tires. He's got about 13 laps more on his tires than these other guys, and he's just struggling trying to find grip and trying to hold his spot up here. Mike?
Well, you guys were talking about Kurt Busch not bringing the winning car from Michigan. Well, Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus elected to not do the same thing. In fact, the car they're racing tonight is the car they destroyed in Chicago back in July. This car's been rebuilt, new front clip, new rear clip. Chad Knaus just felt like it was a much better race car to bring here to Fontana. Okay?
Mike, directly in front of him runs Jeff Burton, currently being shown in the 3rd position. Now, in that last caution when he got into the back of Ryan Newman, one of the things he was talking about was stacking up behind him. The 83 car of Brian Vickers was right behind him. Jeff felt like if he would have lifted, he might have caused a bigger wreck, i.e. more cars, including himself, and that's why he stayed in the gas when he did. Might have felt just a little tap from the 83 and behind, but he didn't get spun. That's kind of why he got into Newman. Russ, you've had that happen before where it's better just to stay in it maybe than to let off and cause a big wreck?
Well, if Jeff Burton would have got out of the throttle more, he would have got rear-ended and spun around, just like Jeff was saying on his replay. So they all did a good job, and unfortunately the 12 car is the one that got the worst end of that deal, but he didn't get much damage. He's back in the hunt. He's okay, and Jeff kind of looks like he did last night in the Busch race, working the bottom of the track. Got a good car.
Looking pretty racy right here. He's already raced around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now he's going around these other guys. Went around Kurt Busch in the 2 car. Looking pretty strong.
Now, this is the time of night right now. It's just starting to set. The sun is.
Yeah, the track's starting to make a little bit of a change. Going through that transition period, I call it, when the sun starts getting that low on the track. You don't really, you get a big change in the track temperature. And these cars that are set up for these dark, for the darkness, are now starting to come to light.
Well, you're absolutely right. I can just look outside right now and feel it, that the track is cooling down. The outside air temperature, folks, might not be a lot different, but the track temperature itself is definitely getting cooler, and that makes the cars handle a lot different. And this is the time of the day where the drivers are thinking, now my car is going to change. It's going to go loose or it's going to go tight, and I've got to keep up with the change in track conditions.
And right now, I'm getting on the radio with my driver saying, hey, what's your car doing now? I want to know what it's doing right through this transition. just to kind of get an idea of what to do later in the race here.
Because I don't believe this track is going to change very slow. I think it's going to be a pretty fast change right now.
The 31 car of Jeff Burton. We're talking about how good his car is getting. Well, last night when the sun went down, Jeff Burton's car got really good, really great. As a matter of fact, that's our Crown Royal crowning moment. The 29 car of Jeff Burton made the pass on the 5 car of Kyle Busch down the back straightaway. A handful of laps to go, and Burton would set sail and pick up his 3rd NASCAR Busch Series win of the year. His 25th career win puts him 4th all time in Busch as a winner.
I would say Adam Sandler.
You know, I've always enjoyed Kevin Costner.
Jessica Biel. Because she's pretty. Jennifer Aniston. Just, I mean, for one, she's hot.
That'd be mine too, Jennifer Aniston. She would rank right up there with me, definitely.
Last I knew she was single, so that would be really good for me.
All right, guys, dare I ask?
Well, I think Jennifer Aniston won out. I mean, I like her too. She's a nice young lady.
There's a very nice sunset just in the edge of the San Gabriel Mountains. We are just about an hour east of Los Angeles here in Fontana, California. Now, because the sun's going down, it's going to get darker here. Lights are coming on. Let's check in. Listen to Jeff Gordon's radio, the communications between he and crew chief Steve Letarte.
I'm definitely tighter. I got to be careful about overdriving and getting in. But I got, good drive. I just got to wait to get it to turn a little bit. But it's right there. Those last couple laps are pretty good.
I don't know what you got for sun on the backstretch, bud, but you might want to peel your tear off now.
Just trying to remind him, trying to help his driver. Sometimes you get so focused on driving a car, you forget that you've got a tinted tear-off across your visor on your own helmet. And how many times you looked around and said, hey, where's my glasses? And they're on my head, right? So he's just giving a good reminder.
There's the tinted tear-off or tinted visor in front of, on the front of the 20 helmet of Tony Stewart. There's another one.
Now you see the tear-off right here on the right-hand side of Jeff Burton's helmet. So these drivers are running them. They can pull that off and see clear.
Coming back to the green flag, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Yeah, talk about you were driven down the interstate and you think, boy, it's really getting dark, and you realize you didn't take your sunglasses off.
Well, I've done it 1,000 times. Kind of stupid, isn't it?
We've all been there. 24 car, Jeff Gordon, 3-time winner here. There is the 4th place car, 31 car, who won here last night. Jeff Burton having another great run here at California Speedway.
Now, this is a point in the race right now where the engine RPMs are going to start coming up. And Andy, you talked earlier in our broadcast about, hey, these engines are going to start turning more RPMs, and when that happens, that's when failures happen.
And this racetrack's getting faster and faster. When that sun goes down, that track temp comes down, and these cars start running a lot faster lap times.
You see the 48 car that's chasing the 5 car down. We heard Mike Massaro a moment ago during the pit stop say that Jimmy Johnson was asking Chad Knaus for more forward bite. What do they do?
Well, they're looking for forward bites, just like when you step on the gas and the rear wheel starts spinning. You got to do something to try to fix that. A lot of times you'll just drop that air pressure in the rear, maybe both rear tires. Sometimes you might even want to drop that track bar or something like that. But there's a lot of different ways to try to get that forward bite.
Well, it looks like Jimmy Johnson's got the forward bite right now. He's working the bottom of the track. And before he went to the caution, you could tell that Jimmy's car was starting to really wake up, I call it. And right now, he's got a real hot rod. This thing is flying right now as the sun goes down. And that last lap by, he had about 3/10 faster than Kyle Busch. In fact, this showed he just led that last lap.
Jimmy Johnson had led just 1 lap today, and now he has led twice as many laps as he has led today. Led 2 laps, getting in front of the 5 car of Kyle Busch. '16 car back in 10th position. That is Greg Biffle. He has been dropping back in the car, wiggling a little bit up there as Greg Biffle, one of the guys that was trying to hang on and at least mathematically try to get into the chase for the Nextel Cup.
We still are not running good enough to be in the chase. So if you, charity, put us in the chase, we're still not capable of winning the championship. And that is important to me. Is it doesn't matter if I make or don't make the chase or make the chase. We have to be, competitive enough to win the title. Otherwise, the chase doesn't mean anything.
and they're doing things to try to put themselves in contention, at least, for picking up one of those qualifying spots for the chase. It's been an eventful day for Greg Biffle. He had a pit road penalty. He's been struggling with a loose race car. They just gambled on their last stop, took 2 right side tires, and made a track bar adjustment. That's given them a little bit more hope. They're back in contention, running 13th right now.
Race to the chase. You know, after the last 4 races, you take a look at Greg Biffle, and he talked about the fact that we just haven't been running well enough to get there, and there's the points position and how far he has been behind 12th position.
Hey, you know, you got to be careful, though, putting 2 tires on a race car that's already not handling too good. That's always been one of the things I've talked to my crew chiefs about is, hey, yeah, getting 2 tires and trying to get that track position is well and good, but if this car's not driving good already, I'm looking for 8 tires or as many as you can get on there to make my car better. So a real gamble. I'm sure they're going to see right now if it'll pay off for them at this juncture, and they were just looking for some track position.
Well, DJ, there's a lot of drivers out there sometimes think 4 tires can cure cancer, because when you're out there sliding all over the place, man, that's an ugly feeling. And I agree with you. I mean, the way that car was handling, 4 tires, I would have thought they'd have done that.
I'm so impressed with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and how hard he's driving this race car the last few races, especially here tonight. He is driving the wheels off this thing to try to get his car and his team in this chase.
We talked about the fact that he needs the motorsports version of a Hail Mary to get in this chase. He came into the day 158 points back. This race and next Saturday night on ABC at Richmond, Virginia, the last 2 shots he's got, and he is driving that 8 car for all he's worth to try to get that Hail Mary and get up into the 12th position.
Jerry, you're absolutely right. This guy has been driving the great races the last 6 straight races, in fact, all year long, but the engine problems have really killed him. He's focused. His car has been handling very well. Hey, unfortunately, they never have engine problems, but they've had a string of them right now. So you can't blame this on Dale Jr. This kid's doing a good job. Brad?
You're absolutely right, Rusty. And as when I talked to Tony Uri Jr. this morning, he was saying, you know, the one thing I'd like for you to point out, Brad, is that this Dale Jr.'s driven his guts out all year, and this race team has not quit. We just haven't had the best of circumstances with our pieces and parts. But we've been in almost a lame duck situation since Junior announced he's leaving. But no one, including Junior himself, has quit on this race team, and that's what he's most proud of.
You wouldn't think it's a lame duck situation when you watch how hard these guys are racing. Both these juniors, Tony Uri Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they bring a good, fast car to the racetrack every week, and they're doing their job here at the track.
Well, you saw how the 5 car just shot by the outside of the 8 car of Dale Jr. He got off a turn 2 not real good, losing the front end, sliding around, and the 5 car had a lot of momentum, and that's the reason he flew past him so quickly coming down the back straightaway. Right now he's got his momentum back, and he's racing that 5 car again. So he's back on track again now, guys.
1 lap away from halfway here at California Speedway. 250 laps, that's 500 miles on the 2-mile racetrack here in Southern California. We're in Fontana, San Bernardino County, about an hour east of Los Angeles.
Looked to me like Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trying a few different lines. He was running the top of the racetrack. Now he's right on the bottom.
Well, while we're talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson just ran a 41.97. I know that doesn't mean a lot to you folks, but that's about 0.4 of a second faster than the second place car of Kyle Busch. This guy right now is in a different zip code. He's flying out there. And boy, when the sun came down and this track started cooling down, it really lit his car up. Fit perfect for him. He's looking great.
We are halfway home here at California Speedway. 125 of 250 laps in the books. Our NASCAR Nextel Cup at California coverage is being presented by Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. By Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed. And by Toyota, moving forward. Welcome back to the Sharp Aquos 500. California Speedway, Fontana, California, presented by Principal Financial Group. Jimmy Johnson, California native, had a special week this week coming home to his hometown in El Cajon, California. Granite Hills High School, where he was inducted into his local high school Hall of Fame. First time he had been back there since 1993 when he graduated. What a great warm welcome they had for him there at his high school just south of San Diego.
Check out David Rudiman, this 00. He's driven this car up into the top 10. Car's looking pretty strong.
David's one of the drivers that all year long I've been watching in the Busch Series. He's been in the top 2 or 3 points positions all year long. You never see this guy crash or have any problem. Works on his car real hard. He's doing another great job for Michael Walter tonight. And Jamie, you got to admit this guy's pretty good.
Well, Rusty, he is very consistent. But if you remember back to this race in February, David Rudiman suffered one of the worst crashes we've seen this year. He was knocked unconscious a little bit. He caught, he lost his breath. And I asked him about that yesterday, and he said, that was a hard hit. I moved on, but I do not like this racetrack. And it's hard to tell right now. He started 28th, and right now you see he's running 8th. Car's been great, but they've really been making up time on the pit stops. Their crew has been stellar. So David Rudiman carrying the torch for Toyota right now.
Highest running rookie right now. You saw the impact Jamie was referring to back in February. As a driver, when you have that kind of lick here, how do you overcome? How do you wash that out of your memory, or do you?
Well, it's hard to get it out of your memory. You go down that corner and you remember it, but these are freak things that happen here in California. Looks like he got tagged in the right rear quarter panel and in the wall. And DJ, I believe you flew Rudiman home that night after that wreck. And you told me he was kind of shooken up a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was shaken up quite a bit. That was a hard impact, and he slept most of the time. And I know most of the time after a crash like that, you don't want people sleeping, but we kind of woke him up every once in a while, make sure he was okay. This young man has a lot of talent. I've had the good fortune of being around him all year. He has a tremendous amount of racing ability. He's got a good head on his shoulder, and he's going to be winning races in this series in the very near future. I really have a lot of respect and admiration for David, and he's taking this car tonight and doing a really terrific job with it.
But yeah, Rudiman is just an overall nice guy too. This fella has took some real hard hits this year, got spun out, got put in the wall, not of his going, and took it like a man. So good job, good driver.
Yeah, he's coming back to some of these places for a second time, and some of these racetracks, only the second time he's ever seen them. And each time that we go back to these tracks, he's improved each and every single time. Michigan, just a few weeks ago, he finished 15th. That was his best finish so far this year, but I think that he might be improving on that tonight.
Well, GG, I'm starting to see some cars really take off right now as the sun goes down. Tony Stewart starting to work the bottom of this racetrack, getting a lot of bite. You see him duck down to the bottom now. But an 83 car also, Brian Vickers, starting to get hooked up.
Yeah, his car's been strong, Brian, on these type of racetracks all year long. He hasn't had a lot of luck to go along with everything, but you got to figure that Tony Stewart is going to become a factor in this race before it's over. This is just his type of racetrack, and it looks like that as the temperature has cooled down a little bit, that the bottom part of the racetrack has become the place to be, and so we'll see if that plays into his hand as we move forward.
Let's ride along with our Wrangler telemetry on board here with Tony Stewart as you take a look at the RPMs, the miles per hour. You see that throttle, and see we'll see much brake pedal at all in the corner. Mike?
Well, Doc, through much of the first portion of this race, Tony Stewart was complaining that he was loose in, loose off, and tight in the center. Greg Zipadelli and his team went to work on that car repeatedly, making small adjustments throughout the course of the race. And just moments ago, Stewart came over the radio saying, this is the best it's been all night. Although you just saw a wiggle on the racetrack, and you've got to wonder what's going on there.
Well, the thing I'm wondering about Tony Stewart right now, he had a wiggle, and then he had another wiggle, then another wiggle. So there's something going on with that car right now. It's not hooked up like he wants it, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Looks like he might have a flat tire. I mean, that thing just jumped right out from under him. He's feeling it out right here.
Behind him.
Feel as stable as everybody else around me looks.
You can see the car is not very stable. Behind him is the battle shaping up for position. That is Dave Blaney, the 22, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Pretty good battle back up toward the front for 4th position. Jeff Gordon has the 4th spot. And the 31 of Jeff Burton wants it. Jimmy Johnson was the leader. Kyle Busch wants it at the very high side of the racetrack, and he comes sailing by and retakes the lead from Jimmy Johnson.
And just something started to really go haywire on Jimmy Johnson's car the last time by. He lost about a half a second of speed, and his car's really fallen off, and Kyle Busch run him down from a long way back, so tires might be falling off in that 48 faster than he anticipated.
Heard him say he was looking for rear grip or looking for forward bite. Maybe he's, you know, his car was pretty good on the short run on good tires, but as the tires wear down, that's where he's looking for that forward bite.
Well, guys, he just jumped out in the lead a little while ago and pulled a big distance in everybody, and now he's just lost everything that he's gained.
Time now to reveal the results from our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Again, the question was, which driver from California has the most chance of winning tonight? How did you vote? What do you think, guys? Who won the vote?
I think it's a close tie between C and D. Let's see. I might be wrong.
I think Jimmy Johnson probably got it. And indeed, Jimmy Johnson does get the vote, and it was close, 39 to 31.
Is that close? Do you call that close? Okay, I'll take it.
And Jimmy Johnson was the leader, has led twice for 19 laps tonight, but he has now been passed by Kyle Busch. Jeff Burton, Gordon Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson, the California kid, trying to get a win here tonight. The sights and sounds of NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing, California Speedway style here, just an hour east of Los Angeles and Hollywood. All kinds of action. Great efforts in a supporting role by crew members and drivers trying to get it done here as the race to the chase winds down. Let's go down to our pit studio with the guys. Here's Brent Musburger.
All right, Jerry, let's recap what's happened so far for the folks. Our McDonald's race rundown. We're just past 10:30 in the east. The scariest picture of the night was this one. Michael Waltrip, left front tire blows out, shears an oil line, and just holds your breath anytime you see a race car driver engulfed in flames. Safety crew quickly on it. They extracted Michael. He's fine. We're glad to report. Now, meanwhile, the guy is Junior is battling. He's led 5 times for 14 laps, and he's hanging tough.
He's hanging tough. Kyle Busch has shown he's the guy to beat, but Junior's not going to give up tonight.
Now, Ryan Newman. And this was on lap 95, and you thought at the time, oh, his bubble burst. He's out of it. Well, I'll tell you what, Brad, he's battled back. He's back in 8th place in this race right now.
He's definitely battled back, got himself right back into the mix. Junior got a little help early, but he's coming back. But I'll tell you what, Dale Earnhardt Jr., we can't say enough. He is driving the wheels off that race car.
So here we are. Kevin Harvick is back on the bubble. Junior's 104 behind him. Newman 149. Back topside we go in the doctor.
Thanks, guys. Great update on what's happened thus far here in the first 145 laps at California Speedway. We talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the effort he's putting in. Realistically, guys, you guys have been around this race, this sport a long time. How much would he need to cut it tonight to have a shot, a legitimate shot at Richmond next Saturday night?
If I'm those guys, I'd want to see that thing below 100 points, and you know, quite a bit below 100 points going into Richmond, because that's the only thing. If you're over 100, it's not going to be realistic to be able to make it up in one race.
Right now he's 104 out of it. He's cut it pretty big time. Was it 54 points since he started this race? But man, he better be careful with that top of that wall. He's been rim riding that thing lap after lap, and that's starting to concern me there.
Remember, the last win he had was at Richmond back in the spring of a year ago. He's very good at that racetrack, but why is he in the situation he's in? Because of engine problems. He has had 5 DNFs, 4 of which have taken place due to engine. And remember, he also had a 100-point penalty because of a bracket on the spoiler at Darlington. That cost him 100 points. And folks, without that penalty, he'd be 4 points out of 12 spot right now. How big is that here with 2 events to go in the race to the chase? DJ?
So, you know, we talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the job that he is doing and how difficult it is to gain points here, and he's still a little over 100 points if the race were to end right now. But with as many cars as we have on the lead lap, still 35 cars right now on the lead lap, a flat tire by one of those guys, Kevin Harvick, Kirk Busch, the 1 car or the 07 car, you could really change this dramatically. So as long as he continues to do his job, as we see him throwing up dust up on the top side right now, things could change in a real hurry because we have so many guys on the lead lap at this point.
He's just going for broke. He's driving this car so hard. He's all the way up against the wall. You see the rooster tails, that sand up next to the wall, he just keeps kicking up. We saw guys last night trying to get up there and flirt with that wall, end up spinning out and crashing.
Well, right now he's not giving himself an out. He's just running so close against the wall. We got a replay here I want to show you. Let's take a look from earlier when he was running really close to the top. He's really flirting with it. Look at this. He gets into turn 1, right up in the gray. Whoa.
Back inside, back inside.
Got in there a little deep.
I said he got in there a little deep. And when you get in there a little deep, that wall comes at you awful fast. And, you know, we saw Denny Hamlin do that last night and spin. The pit stops are just starting to come around right now. 16 car, Greg Biffle.
Mike?
And last time down pit road, remember, Greg Biffle took just right side tires and made a track bar adjustment. Expect them to make a 4-tire change this time. A wedge adjustment as well on the left side, as you saw. A pretty significant one, too. At least 2 turns there. They move around to the left side of the car, now making the move there. Changing rubber, dropping them off the jack, and away goes Greg Biffle.
But Greg Biffle has struggled so bad. He's got himself a lap down. And that car has not been handled. That's very unlikely from what you normally see with Greg Biffle. He's one of the best drivers out there, but just been really struggling with this car.
He's gambling a little bit here, trying to short pit on these guys. I think these leaders can go about 8 or 10 more laps, and so he's trying to get in here and short pit, maybe get a few laps on them, and try to get some. If the caution doesn't come out, he'll be able to gain some ground.
Yeah, short pitting. What do you mean by that?
That means just pitting before the gas tank runs dry, and you just get in there and get you some tires, because these tires really, there's a lot of big gain by getting 4 new tires on the car. You can gain up to a second or second and a half.
And that's a good feel, because when you short pit and you go out there in those fresh tires and those guys are still out there in the old tires, you're gaining so much track position. And that's what Greg Biffle and his team are trying to do right now. And that's a great explanation, because that's what he needs to do right now. He's kind of in trouble.
One car of Martin Truex Jr. having a really good run, similar to what he had up in Michigan a couple of weeks ago on a track almost identical to this. 26 in the pits in front of you, Alan.
Jamie McMurray struggling, which about typifies the way that their summer has been so far, Doc. They have had all kinds of trouble since about the 1st of July. A number of crashes, some different problems. The crew chief, Larry Carter, said they hope they can turn it around with a good run tonight at one of what has statistically been one of Jamie McMurray's very best racetracks.
You know, they won at Daytona in a really exciting finish right there, won by about 4 or 5 inches. And he's been struggling ever since. And the Chevrolets at this racetrack seem like they're so strong, it's unreal, guys. I just haven't seen any other brands. The top 5 right now are Chevrolet, and just so strong. And the Fords have been struggling here, but got Casey Kane on pit road right now. Mike?
And Casey Kane's main complaint tonight, very loose. You know, their expectations were pretty modest coming into this race. I spoke with Kenny Francis before the race began. He said if they could finish on the lead lap, that would be a success. So if you were wondering if Gillette Evernham Motorsports was completely back, that should answer your question. They've been struggling mightily throughout the night. A 4-tire change on the 9.
These are the kind of racetracks that this team's been struggling on, too. It's these big downforce racetracks with the old car. The Car of Tomorrow program seems to be pretty good for this team, but they've really struggled with this car on these big tracks this year.
And you know, you wonder why that is, because they've been so strong in the mile and a halves last year. In fact, dominating. 21 car on pit road, Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott, a 12-time most popular driver in the sport, getting service on his car. And the 99 of Carl Evers in front of you, Jamie Little.
And last stop, they made up 2 positions. Right now, Carl said his car is loose around the bottom, but tight up top. So they're just going to make an air pressure adjustment, all 4 tires, fuel and tires, and that's all, guys. He came in, and he was 8th. Carl Evers is away.
And now finally the 5 car of Kyle Busch, who has led 6 times for 88 laps. He will come down with just 97 laps to go at California Speedway. Kyle Busch, who won here back in the fall of 2005 at the age of 20 years old. Dave.
And one thing they notice on this car, as the track gets cooler, a little looser this race car gets. So they're going to make a chassis adjustment as well as a air pressure adjustment, perhaps. Try to tighten this car up just a bit for Kyle Busch. He comes in the leader. Let's see where it cycles out. Alan.
Dale Jr. pits from 2nd place. Going to be a 4-tire change here. He said as the conditions have cooled, his car has begun to turn better. He's having a good time out there right now, Mike.
Johnson complaining the car's a little bit loose, but there might be a bigger concern. Chad Knaus telling him to turn both batteries on. There may be electrical concerns on the 48.
Both batteries turning them on. You watch the Martin Truex car. Truex, who's had great runs recently, a 2nd at Michigan, the 11th last week at Bristol. Hanging tough in the top 10 in the points, trying to get in the chase. Jeff Burton is in, Dave.
One of the main things he wanted was to get the rear of the car into the track board. You can't see the rear of the car there, but they're going to make adjustments, track bar and air pressure, trying to get a better feel for Jeff so that rear grip works better for the 31 driver right now. Running fourth earlier, coming in. We'll see where this cycles out as well for Jeff. Allen.
And Denny Hamlin brings the FedEx car down pit road. He had been kind of struggling when the sun was out and it was warm, but as the track conditions have cooled, he's been moving up. He was in 12th position just before the sequence of pit stops begins. It's a 4-tire change here for the 11th car. And there is Kurt Busch, who also comes down pit road. He has really been slipping back. Kurt has fallen back as far as 15th spot. Remember, this was the guy that started on pole and led a lot in the opening laps. Jamie?
David Rudiman, the 00, having the race of his night. Started 28th, went all the way to the lead before succumbing to the pit stop. He said he's bad in the center. He's really loose, but guys, he continues to fight. We'll see where this Toyota ends up at the end of the night. Trouble in front of David Rudiman.
Well, the 41 car coming in really sideways like that and almost blocked David in the pits. He got out pretty good. These pits are pretty wide. These are some of the longest pit roads and widest pit roads we have on the circuit here.
41 car, they try to get the car pushed back and right, and it was nosed in against the wall.
The car may have been low on fuel and couldn't get it started after the pit stop.
Yeah, that very well could have been. He got in a little hot, got the car in kind of sideways, but slid for a while, but still had a long enough pit not to cross over the line and not get a penalty.
You watch Reed Sorensen's car move back out. I'll mention you saw the pit stop a moment ago with David Rudiman, and Jamie mentioned he had led. He did indeed lead a lap. The first time the 00 has led a lap this year. Heard Dale Jarrett talking about what a great young man he is and how much talent he's got. Speaking of great talent, the 5 car. Kyle Busch, can he drive a loose race car or what? He is sideways in the corner, just dirt tracking, but he is leading here at California Speedway. And the young man has led 7 times for 90 laps. Kyle Busch trying to pick up a win here. This telecast is available on ESPN HD, presented by DirecTV. Back at California Speedway, and we're talking about drivers trying to make it into the chase. Take a look at now who's on the bubble. Kevin Harvick, who came into this race tonight 10th in the point standings. He has lost a couple of spots and is being shown just 104 points ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Harvick being shown currently in 17th position on the racetrack, while Earnhardt Jr. is in 2nd spot.
Yeah, this 29 car's been struggling. He's kind of been hanging in that top 20, but that's not good enough really for this team. They really kind of struggle with the setup here this week.
We talked about the changing track conditions. The track has definitely changed. It's much cooler right now. And I believe the more pit stops that the 29 car Kevin Harvick has, the more time he's going to have to get this thing right and get it ready for the end of the race. Alan?
Just an update on what Kevin is saying about his car, Rusty. Just before the last pit stop, he said he needed the front end to turn a little better without taking away any grip at the back. So that's what's been plaguing Harvick here for the last little while. They have worked and worked and worked on this race car, but still, there they are in the middle of the pack.
Well, Alan, that's a caution flag. That's some debris out there.
Caution on the speedway for the 9th time. They are telling us debris is on the racetrack. So caution will come out with just 87 laps to go.
And that's one of the longest green flag runs we've had, 117 laps. Those guys have run since the caution. And that's enough time to find out what their car needed to do. The water bottle on the ground right there.
Under the lights, they're unable to tell. They see something shimmering on the racetrack, and at these speeds of over 190 miles an hour, you simply cannot take a chance on running over something on the racetrack. That may be it. It may be some other debris somewhere on the track. In any event, they cannot make it if they were to come back in and pit now, Andy. I guess there's no way on fuel that they can make it on one more stop.
It's close, though, Doc. Some of these guys might try to roll the dice.
But Andy, if they come in on lap 9 of the race for fresher tires early, you know, if there's another caution, they want those tires again. So
I think we're going to see them on pit road.
I'm listening to what you're saying, man. I made a lot of these decisions in the past, and I flunked every one of them. You guys always beat me. You and Earnhardt always got me.
They just pitted 10 laps ago on lap 154. We were at lap 164 with this caution flag, and Andy Petrie believes they'll come in. And you know what? I guess they could run 40 1 or 2 laps, and they're just 86 away from the checkered flag. Someone might roll the dice.
Might be more than you think. Some of those guys may have pitted just a little bit short on that last run. I think it can go about 40 to 45 laps, just depending on what kind of mileage they're getting. So that's going to put it right in the window.
Greg Biffle, by the way, got the free pass, and boy, did he ever need that. They have been hustling all night long to get that 16 car back on the lead lap, and so Biffle will now become the 26th car on the lead lap as he will go around the pace car and fall in behind the leaders. Jamie Little.
And guys, Carl Edwards complaining about his car a little bit. He's a little loose. They're going to make another air pressure adjustment, put some wedge in there. He's so technical. He talks about his car every single lap, every single turn. So Carl Edwards, just a minor adjustment. Let's go down to Dave.
5 car is turning just a little too easily. Slight air pressure adjustment for Kyle Busch. 4 fresh tires, Mike.
Chad Knaus gets a lot of credit for his mechanical expertise, but perhaps not enough credit as being a coach. He just told his team, we are going to win this thing. A wedge adjustment on both sides. Alan.
And yet another pit stop on this muggy, hot day for the Dale Earnhardt Jr. crew. They've been very solid so far. They're going to make a 4-tire change here, and 14.5 on our clock might cost them a little ground. Let's see.
Oh, a near miss at the end of pit road. Jeff Burton takes evasive action not to run in the back of the 8 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. They scramble off. How about Vickers, Brian Vickers, 11 spots he's gained on that exchange on pit road. The near miss we told you about a moment ago. Watch the 31 car as the 8 car pulls out at the end of pit road.
It's good heads-up driving out of Jeff Burton. He had a lot of momentum going at the rear bumper, the 8 car, and saw it better than to push the issues, got out of the throttle.
That could have been disastrous for the 8 and the 31. Nice evasive move by Jeff Burton. Back with a restart at California in just a moment. We welcome you back to our NASCAR Nextel Cup Series coverage at California, presented by Principal Financial Group. Aerial coverage from high above this 2-mile D-shaped oval, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. Caution number 9 out came out on lap 163 for debris on the racetrack. All the leaders have been on and off of pit road. We mentioned that the 16 car of Greg Biffle was able to get the free pass, get back on the lead lap. He has since come on the pit road to change a left rear spring in the car. The car is handling so poorly, had been so loose he couldn't drive it. And there's the spring change on the 16 car.
Yeah, these guys are on the tail end of the lead lap, so they're going to come in here and change this spring. They've been chasing the car all night long, and sometimes just wedge and track bar and air pressure changes are not enough. So these guys are going to put a spring in here and hopefully going to change things for them.
Well, if they're ever going to do it, they need to do it now. Just what you said, Andy, at the back of the pack. They've got the free pass, got 4 new tires. Might be a whole new ball game, whole new run right now for Greg Biffle with his change.
83 laps to go this race and 1 more in the race to the chase. Can you hang on? Will the engine take the heat in the RPMs at California Speedway? Brian Vickers, the Toyota at the front of the field. Kyle Busch. Let's listen into the drivers and spotters as we go full throttle.
Green flag, come on.
Attaway. Now on your bumper.
That thing sorted out.
Right on your bumper.
18 coming at you. Still down.
Clear. Got a ride coming back. Still clear. Good job. He's on your bumper.
Clear low. Stay on him, man.
1 back coming inside, 18.
Still out there.
Come on, barely there. Clear, you're good. You're clear. Still outside.
Careful, guys. Just keep working on him.
Coming hard outside.
Whoa, great effort up front. The 5 car right on the back of the Toyota of Vickers, pushing him down the straightaway into turn 1.
Well, he threaded the needle on that one. 3 wide right down the center. He was the last one to get out of the throttle. And remember, the 83 car of Brian Vickers, only 2 tires. And he's not going to handle as well as Jimmy Johnson, the 5 car of Kyle Busch, who've all both got 4 tires. Put brand new tires all the way around. That gives you better grip. Look at Johnson to the bottom of the track right now. Shortest way around. Johnson's back on track. 42.50 that last lap for Jimmy Johnson. The Kyle Busch is 42.85. About 0.3 faster that last time by.
Guys starting to turn the wick up here in the final 80 laps at California Speedway. One of the big concerns was the engine life. Back in the spring, we had five major teams lose engines here in the last half of the Nextel Cup event at California because it just puts that much wear and tear on the power plant.
And stepping it up right now, too. These guys are racing each other pretty hard for position. We're in that part of the race where, everybody's going to try to get what they can get.
I'll tell you who's looked alive is Reed Sorensen, that 41 car. He's looking good right now. This car's he's got a good handling car, but he's a lap down, and he's really working hard for that lucky dog to try to get it back. So, boy, when you see those guys are right there to get that lucky dog, and it's like they pick the throttle up and run the lap of their life. Oh, they're really getting it right now.
29 car, Kevin Harvick. We told you he had dropped all the way back to 12th position because of where he's running on the racetrack, and now they're sailing by him. You see the 20 car and the 2. This is the onboard camera from Tony Stewart on the inside of the 29 car. That is for 14th, 15th, and 16th position.
That last pit stop that Kevin Harvick made, that was a key one for him. He had a time to adjust his car, new tires, adjustments to get it better. If it's not better now, they're probably in trouble.
Kevin Harvick, by virtue of being shown back in 15th position now, and he can ill afford to lose any more spots. He certainly can't allow Tony Stewart or Bobby Labonte to go by because right now he is 12th in the point standings, 129 points ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Guy looks like he's really slipping. Can't get any momentum right now. It's a 2 car, Kurt Busch. Car's not handling like it was early in the race. Alan?
Hitch on a couple things here, Rusty, if you want. First, Kevin Harvick, he said his car was pretty good when they came down pit road for that last stop. He came to pit road in 17th spot, picked up a few positions on the pit lane. Now they're kind of sliding back to where they were. As for Kurt Busch, he had fallen well back. He said, if we don't do something, we're not going to have a shot at winning this. So they took some extra time on the pit road to make an adjustment to the right rear shock absorber. That's why he lost all those spots on the pit stop, and he's back in the middle of the mess here.
Well, he's either loose or tight, and on a shock absorber, he can get underneath and make an adjustment that's definitely going to make that car handle better. So he's probably working on that. And whoa, the 40 car out of it down the back straightaway almost got run over.
1 point differential. You see there, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick.
Got a caution on the racetrack right now.
Caution being waved for there's a piece of the tire that probably came off the 41 car. Caution number 10 on the night here on lap 174. And what a near miss back there for that 41 car. It was up high, and these guys fortunately were able to go around him at 185 miles an hour. Here comes Reed Sorensen on the pit road.
He was racing hard trying to stay up there where he could get that lucky dog, and then here he's the one that brings the caution out, so he won't be eligible. Most times when you see a tire that comes apart like that, it's from contact maybe on the racetrack with somebody and knocks the air out of the tire. Maybe it knocks the valve stem off. See this right here. It's like the tire's already down. He's up in the high groove, and these guys are avoiding him.
And for a while there, I thought it was a 40 car, David Stremme, that had that tire come off, but it was his teammate, Reed Sorensen. You see the cap rolls across right now. He did a good job keeping the thing up out of the way.
Now, 2 laps prior, where you talked about there's possibly could have been some contact. This was 2 laps ago, the 8 car and the 41.
This is just what I kind of suspected. When you get a tire come apart like that, it's usually from some kind of contact, just like this right here, and it just knocks maybe the valve stem loose, maybe just cuts the sidewall of the tire a little bit, and then the air goes out of it and makes that tire come apart. That was actually the tread rubber of the tire that came off.
10th caution flag of the night, lap 174. Here is Jeff Gordon, the 3-time California winner on pit road. He will lead a contingent. Casey Kane, Paul Menard. From 7th on back, these guys opting to come in and make a pit stop. Dave.
And Jeff Gordon fighting a loose race car. They said we finally probably need to pull that spring rubber out of the right rear spring. That will lay the car over a little bit more on that right side and tighten it up just a little bit that way. And so that's what they're going to do. 4 tires as well for the 3-time winner here at California. Alan.
And Kurt Busch has pitted his car. They only had 6 laps of racing on the tires, but crew chief Pat Tryson calling Kurt in. Nothing to lose with the track position they had. They're making air pressure adjustment to try and get a little more front end grip and hopefully get some fresher tire positions on the racetrack after the restart. Nice stop by the 2 bunch.
Great stop by Pat Tryson and that 2 bunch for Kurt Busch, who was the pole sitter. By the way, he had come out of the pits in 22nd position and driven that car all the way back up to 11th spot. So obviously whatever they had wrong with the car 40 or 50 laps ago, they have fixed, because Kurt Busch could be a factor before this race is over. Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race on behalf of Allstate. They will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Tony Stewart making a great move to avoid that car on the racetrack. Just waving the green flag, and they sail by into turn 1. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Kyle Busch up on the high side. Carl Edwards in the 99 car trying to make some noise down for Roush Fenway Racing. Jeff Burton, the 31, in 3rd position, and Earnhardt Jr. there in the top 5.
Well, Carl Edwards had an early mishap with a pit road wreck, and he's rebounded from that right now. He's been working on his car throughout the night. He's got himself up in the 3rd position. And right now, this racetrack's probably at maximum grip. It's about as cool as it's going to get. With 73 laps to go, it might cool down a little bit, but not much. Had some right front fender damage in that 99 car. They pulled it out, got the downforce back in that car. Kept working on every single pit stop, but now he's got that car back up to speed. In fact, that last time by, he was just about the same speed as the 2nd place car of Kyle Busch.
Jeff Burton, who won the NASCAR Busch Series race here last night. Car got very good as the race went on. Again here tonight, inside of 75 laps to go. Being shown now in the 3rd position. Whoa, contact back there, the 00. Jeff Gordon is involved as well. Rudeman. Kevin Harvick somehow gets through. David Gilliland is involved. The 88 of Ricky Rudd.
Looks like Jeff Gordon made it through. He's got some damage on the left front fender. He's bouncing through the grass right now. Gordon is. David Rudeman, heavy damage on the front of his car.
There's Gordon, the 3-time winner here and current points leader. There's the 88 car of Ricky Rudd, making his 900th career start. Not the way he wanted to note this landmark in his career, sitting in the grass here in the front straightaway in the Trot Oval area.
It's like Jeff Gordon just got in the side of Jeremy Mayfield, shot up the track, and Jeff got slight damage on the left front. It looks like not near as much as I thought.
And Kevin Harvick just shoots right through the gap, makes it through this wreck.
That could have been disastrous for Kevin Harvick, trying to hang on to a spot in the chase.
Inside back here, wrecking behind us.
See, David Rudeman didn't see that coming. He was on the top side of the racetrack when Gordon got into Jeremy Mayfield, knocked him up into David Rudeman, and Jeff must have really got loose.
Come on, hustle, nobody. You're good.
Dave?
Clear up. Big wreck behind you. Hell of a job.
And yeah, guys, Jeff Gordon came on the radio right after that, talking to crew chief Steve Letary. He said, my fault.
Yeah, it really looked like that. It looks like he just got loose up off the turn and got up into Jeremy Mayfield and caused that whole thing. 29, Kevin Harvick. Another adjustment here.
Harvick somehow made his way knifed through all those cars spinning and wrecking. Coming in for 4 more tires on the 29 car, now being shown back in the 12th position in the points. They're pulling the fenders away from Jeff Gordon's car, and it's obvious that Jeff Gordon didn't see that Mayfield's car was decided. He would never have pulled abruptly up across into another lane.
It looked like he thought he was clear, and he just started moving up, just barely caught the 36 car there.
Well, I'm really thinking the 24 Gordon got loose. You see the door marks, guys, right in this whole side of the car. He just slid up the track.
Left on it. Left on it.
Not one of these deals like we saw Andy where he gets him in the right rear quarter panel, a little bit in the left rear. That was a whole body slam right there.
So you think he just got loose and slid up there?
Yeah, I'm thinking he just got loose off that turn right there.
Look at it again. On board from Jeff Green's onboard kit.
He's out of it. I can't help you. He's out of it. All right, come up high a little bit. One lane up. Clear right there.
A lot of smoke to try to drive through.
Ricky Rudd out of the car, and his car holding that left wrist. Ricky, who will be 51 years of age in 10 days, making his 900th career start. This is the 28th and final year that he will drive in NASCAR's Nextel Cup. He noted a couple of weeks ago that he's going to call it quits, going to retire and kick back with the family. Linda and Landon is be able to enjoy life. He had a hard driver's side impact as the 00 car came across and caught the right rear quarter panel and turned his car into the wall. A record-tying 11th caution flag here at California Speedway. Back at California Speedway, boy, do we have action, non-stop action coming your way from the action track at Richmond International Raceway beginning next Friday. We've got Busch Series qualifying and practice, Cup qualifying, all culminating Friday night with the Busch Series race, 7:30 Eastern time. And, of course, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 on ABC. Folks, from now on, NASCAR Nextel Cup to the championship, ESPN on ABC. Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. It has been hot and heavy here tonight. Let's take a look at some of the hard hits at California Speedway thus far tonight. Sights and sounds of the school of hard knocks and hard hits, California Speedway style. Getting set for the restart. Jimmy Johnson will lead him down. Kyle Busch chomping at the bit. The 31 car of Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. in the 5th position. As they come down to the restart, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, diving on the pit road. Here's the battle up front for the lead, and Kyle Busch trying to take it away in turn 1.
And Jimmy Johnson pins him down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Johnson's got that momentum on the top side, gets past him.
Looks like Jimmy Johnson's car is really good on new tires.
It really is. In the 5 car, he just gets such a run on those restarts, Andy. That time he committed to the bottom of the track, and now he's going to commit to the top of the track, but Jimmy is pinned down there, and that's where his car has been working the best throughout the night. Hendrick teammate cars, same engines, same horsepower probably. But the 5-car driver, Kyle Busch, he doesn't care about Jimmy Johnson right now. He's going to a new team. He's like, I'm going to win this thing.
Jimmy Johnson, 4 times he won this year. All 4 of his wins coming in the first 10 races of the year. The 15 car, Paul Menard, his Chevrolet. And they have had an eventful night on and off the racetrack. Dave?
Well, on pit road, one of the things the crews do is they look at their television replays to see what happens during a pit stop. Go ahead and roll that, guys. Here's what happened on the last pit. TJ Ford is a jackman. Watch the 40 car coming around. He gets clipped. David Stremme was pitting. He unfortunately got too close to TJ. TJ gets up. He finishes the stop, looking to come around to the left side of the car and completes his pit stop. But immediately he went over to track first responders, and they have taken him to the infield care centers to take a look at that right knee. But good pickup for TJ, and you can see he's in pain. We just want to let you know that too, because his dad hasn't been contacted yet. And Dad, if you're watching this race and your cell phone's not on, get in touch with the team, because TJ's okay. He'd like to talk to you.
Well, that was a very close call. Great report, Dave. Showing exactly how these guys are in a danger zone. Andy, you were there many years going over the wall, pitting the cars for Dale Earnhardt and Harry Gant and others.
I was real lucky. I've been over that wall many times, and those guys, even though they have pit road speed, they still have, a lot of danger that they're in over there.
Now, Tony Stewart, he's made a shock adjustment on the back of the Sharp. Probably took rebound out of the back, or put compression in, which takes and lowers the front of the car, makes it stick better. And that's what Tony's been complaining about, and he's going to have to see now if that change was what he wanted. I heard earlier he was trying to talk his crew chief into doing something.
This is 15, 16, 17, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick being shown in 16th position. McMurray in the 26th car was 16th. He's been passed. Tony Stewart now going by him for 17th spot.
4 wide off turn 4.
And Tony Stewart in the middle of that That really makes your car loose, and he was holding on to that baby. But Labib's going to get a good draft on his front straightaway and try to make the pass on Kevin Harvick getting into turn 1 if he can get that front end to stick.
Update on Ricky Rudd. We are being told he has been transported by ground ambulance for further evaluation after that hard driver's side impact into the wall. You saw him get out of the car and walk away holding that left arm and left shoulder area.
Well, it's a good pass on Stewart just then. He really used his teammate to help out and block that 29 back on that last move. Well, these guys are locked up in a battle right now. A.J. Allmendinger on the top side of the track. Harvick trying to get back in this thing.
Like Jeff Burton's taking over the second spot now from Kyle Busch.
Yeah, his lap times, Andy, are pretty good. He's about a 10th off of Johnson right now. That's probably the strongest I've seen Jeff Burton throughout the night. And that's another car that keeps adjusting on it, getting it better and better.
Jeff Burton's one of the best I've ever seen at getting his car adjusted right and being where he needs to be at the end of the race.
He's a real cool guy, real cool character, you know, about his changes, real methodical, the way he changes things, and it paid out for him last night.
Jimmie Johnson, our leader, led 3 times for 42 laps. Jeff Burton in second. Carl Edwards is third. Or check that Carl Edwards has just been passed just a moment ago by the 5 car of Kyle Busch. Dave?
And car owner Rick Hendrick has been on top of the box all during this race. Kyle leading about half of it. Falling back just a little bit right now. Rick Hendrick wanting to encourage his team to get Kyle to the finish here at California.
Hey, bud, you're doing a great job. Don't take any unnecessary chances. We want to be in the chase, and we'd like to win this thing, but we want a good finish. Yeah, roger that. You guys have done a super job tonight. I mean, pit crew, everybody. Drove the wheels off that thing, man. Finish it up.
And you heard Rick imploring these guys, we want to be in the chase. They're pretty well into it, but anything can happen. And mathematically, they didn't come in here as a lock. So Rick trying to say, you know, this thing isn't over. It's a long race. You may have bled a bunch of it, but you need to carry it home.
And when that voice comes across from Rick Hendrick, that is like the voice of God. Everybody understands his voice and appreciates him talking to his crew. They love working for this man. Rick is just a fantastic individual, and all his cars have been running good all year long. And when he says that, Jerry, you know that he's seeing something that might be going wrong, and he's trying to calm everybody down just a little bit.
Kyle Busch needs to finish 25th or better tonight to guarantee himself a spot in the chase. Obviously, he's running in 3rd position right now if they don't make a major mistake, as you heard Rick Hendrick talking about. 12 car, Ryan Newman, and he is down on the inside of the apron. He's one of the drivers.
Pretty good because it cooled off to 188 right away.
He was trying to get in. He was in 14th position in the points, just behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming in here just 17 points back, and this is really going to hurt him and his opportunity or any chance to get in the race for the chase.
Sounded to me like you were talking about an engine problem here, and it looks like he's riding around with no power. If I'm the guys on that 2 car, I'd be a little bit concerned about this, seeing my teammate have an engine problem.
Well, he had a problem in yesterday's Busch race, and talking to me, broke a spark plug. They thought that maybe they broke a valve spring or an internal part of the engine. And after they investigated, they said, Rusty, it was a broken spark plug, and they haven't had that happen forever. But he was talking about water temperature this and Andy, so I guess something engine related.
55 laps to go here at California Speedway. Jimmie Johnson, the California kid, homecoming this week down at El Cajon to his own high school. He is showing the way here over Kyle Busch. Back at California Speedway here in Fontana, California. NASCAR Nextel Cup action presented by Principal Financial Group. We talked about the 22 car of Dave Blaney having the good run, trying to stay in the top 35 in the owner's points, and now he's in the garage area with Jamie Little.
And all I can say is hot, hot, hot. You're okay, Dave, but coming into this 35th in the owner points, how much are you guys thinking about that now and how this can shuffle things up for the remainder of the season?
Well, yeah, that's big for us, and I'm sure we're back out, you know, and the car's running great. You know, we got a top 10 car all night, and kind of had motor trouble early in the race. It started, I thought it was giving up real early, and it kind of slowed down, and finally gave up. I thought it might make it all the way, but man, really good car in the corners the whole time. We just couldn't finish it.
Another Toyota done tonight, guys. Let's go to the booth.
8 car on the pit road, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Allen.
Jumped on the radio, going down the back straightaway, said, I got a flat, got a pit now. Team was ready for him. He brought the car in, make a 4-tire change. This will be their final stop. They'll get it full of fuel, and he'll have plenty of gas to go the distance. Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitting with 40 laps to go.
It's about the perfect time for these guys to pit. We've been watching. They've been running over between 40 and 42 laps. Dave?
And the 31 of Jeff Burton is in. This is the one that will count. No changes for Jeff. 4 tires, comes into his pit stall. Very important on speed. Also Kyle Busch on pit road. They need to make an air pressure adjustment to help his car a little bit. 4-tire change for Kyle Busch as well. Mike.
The money stop for Jimmy Johnson as well. A little bit tight in the center of one. They make a wedge and track bar adjustment along with 4 tires and fuel, and he's away.
Final pit stop, they call it crunch time, the money stop, whatever you want to put it. These guys have got to get them on and off pit road here, because if we stay green, they can make it on fuel. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Burton. Here's the 9 car who won this race a year ago. Swept both Busch and Cup, Casey Kane. The 2 car, our pole sitter today, Kurt Busch on pit road. Came in here 12th in the point standings, trying to move up with a good run here tonight at 55 miles an hour, headed all the way down to the end of pit road. To you, Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, it's been kind of a yo-yo night for these guys, Doc. They started up front, led early, then the handling went away. They slipped back. They made adjustments. They've been starting to move back toward the front. Kurt was in 10th place when he came off the racetrack for this pit stop. He says the back end of his car is sliding around badly, so they're making adjustments to try and help that, along with his final load of fuel for this race.
And they've been really struggling all night long with grip. The back of the car sliding, like Alan said. Probably work with putting wedge in the car, dropping the track bar. You heard them. They're going to work with the right rear shock. And when you go to a shock, that's a last-ditch effort to work on the car. That's one thing you don't want to do.
Here's Bobby Labonte driving for the King, Richard Petty, coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes. Great run for this team for Bobby Labonte. Here's the 16 car, Greg Biffle, who got back on the lead lap. He's on the pit road. Mike?
And it's been an eventful night, to say the least, for Greg Biffle. Twice tonight they've elected to make a 2-tire change. That's not going to be the case this time, however. They roll around to the left side. They made a wedge adjustment as well. 4 tires for Greg Biffle. They drop him down off the jack, and he's away.
Boy, if these guys get a top 15 finish, and they were 10th when they came on the pit road a moment ago, they will have earned their money tonight. They have worked diligently to get this 16 car back in the fray and competitive. Here's the 29 car, Kevin Harvick. We talked about trying to stay competitive. He had to average a 17th place finish tonight, and next Saturday to stay in the chase, he's in front of you, Alan.
And they have really worked on this car's handling a lot through the night, Doc. And then, remember, he just missed that big wreck down the front straightaway. They came in, they repaired the front valence, the very lowest lip of the car at the front fender. A 4-tire change here for Harvick on his final stop, and some more adjustments as well to try and help him, losing the front end in traffic.
A good stop right there. His pit crew really bailed him out on that one. That was a fast stop, and good smooth-looking stuff there.
Yeah, this 29 team, I saw him working on that the jack screws there. You saw him turning the wedge bolts, trying to get his car handling better here for this last run.
Looks like he's made adjustments throughout the night, every single stop in that car.
This one guy we hadn't talked much about is Bobby Labonte. He was running up there in about top 10 or 12 right before these guys started to pit. Now he's got his hand out the window. He's coming in this time.
Back-to-back top 10 finishes for Bobby Labonte. A season-tying best finish of 8th at Bristol, Tennessee last week. He will come on the pit road, as will Paul Menard in the 15 car. Jamie.
Now Bobby Labonte rolls in. It's easy in for him. It's been a solid night. It's been a solid few weeks for him. He's going to do 4 tires, fuel, no changes. The chemistry on this team is undeniable. Bobby told me today he loves working with Doug Randolph. A change was in order, and it's all about chemistry, and it's showing, guys.
Great pit stop, too, 14.2.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Major adjustments they made on that car just about 20 laps ago during the caution flag. The 20 has stayed out, and Tony Stewart being shown as our leader. But what kind of strategy are they talking about here, staying on the race? Let's listen in.
We got 2 options here. We can run this thing out for a ways. We can pit right now with the leader so we don't give up too much time to him, you know?
What they're talking about here is they can run about 15 more laps on their fuel because they pitted on one of those other cautions. So they're going to try to run these guys out of gas, or are actually going to use their gas to try to get a caution flag and trap these guys down a lap.
I believe I do the same thing. I mean, he can run that much longer, and if a caution comes down, hey, he's looking great. He's leading the race, got the rest of the field a lap down. He knows he's had problems all night long getting that thing going.
The problem is if he doesn't get a caution, though, he'll be caught way behind these guys.
That's Greg Zippodelli, the left side of your screen, the crew chief he was talking to. For more information on strategy, log on to ESPN.com, search word know-how. So Greg Zippodelli and Tony Stewart going to roll the dice. They can run 15 more laps on field, hoping for a yellow flag and a big break. Our NASCAR Nextel Cup at California coverage is being presented by Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. By Goodyear, innovative technology to help you get there. By the U.S. Department of Transportation. And by Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed.
Jeff Gordon on pit road now after that lap 179 wreck, pretty much out of contention. They were running that same strategy Tony Stewart was trying. Stay out as long as we can. That's our best shot, according to crew chief Steve Letarte. Very loose race car, hard to drive. They made a chassis and air pressure adjustment to try to keep Jeff on the track for the rest of the day.
Jeff Gordon exiting pit road, trying to get down pit road. And I remind you that NHRA Powerade Series Mac Tools U.S. Nationals Finals coming your way tomorrow noon Eastern Time. And, of course, tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Each Labor Day weekend, NHRA, the fans descend on O'Reilly Raceway Park in Indianapolis for the biggest, oldest, and richest event of the NHRA season. Mac Tools U.S. Nationals coming your way starting tomorrow. Tony Stewart is our leader, and if you just joined our coverage, they've changed about everything but the sponsor and the number on this car on pit road a little while ago to get the car to where Tony could drive it, and it certainly paid off, but they're rolling the dice a little bit now on the fuel.
Well, he's got the track position right now. He's leading the race, and pretty shortly we probably have to come down pit road because Jimmy Johnson is out there in 4th position right now, running 1 second faster than Tony Stewart and really cutting it down. He's only 10 seconds behind Tony right now. So Tony's just nursing this Home Depot car around the track right now, holding on, just waiting for a caution.
Let's ride along with our Wrangler telemetry on board here, Andy, and look at the RPMs that Tony's still turning here late in a fuel run.
Yeah, you can see how fast these guys run down the straightaway, 200 miles an hour entering the corner. And they don't slow down a whole lot in the corners because they're so big and wide. And so the RPM only drops down to 60, 6,100 you see right there. That's why it's so hard on engines here.
Give a call to this crew, the 84 car. That is A.J. Allmendinger. They are having one heck of a night here as these guys are finally trying to be able to get the chance to run some laps. Dave?
And a pretty good race car all night for AJ. Put tires on it every time they had an opportunity. They're having a little trouble on the left side. He's now off of pit road, but he was trying that same strategy too. Maybe if we stay out, we can catch everybody a lap down. Didn't happen for him. The main thing for him, laps. That's why he ran the Busch race last night until the big wreck late in the going, and that's why he's on the track today. He actually credited the Busch race practice for getting him into this race. He said that gave me confidence when qualifying came around to get on this hot, greasy racetrack and put this car in the field, and it's been a good run.
He's getting some experience making pit stops too. We saw him make a little bit of a rookie mistake getting in the pits and getting there sideways and really too close to the wall for the pit crew guys to get on the left side, but they made it happen and got him out. You see, he's trying to get in here hot, trying to save as much time as possible, slides those front tires, and when they're sliding they won't turn, gets up next to the wall. The crew guys really reacted well here and got him back out without any problems. See the Jackman having just a little bit of trouble there on that wall. Front tire changer doesn't have much room to work with. This is things that this guy will learn as he gets more and more experience and makes more and more stops.
Well, the Jackman had to give us some extra pumps to get that thing up because he just couldn't get that jack handle all the way down because that wall was in the way. But I do like what he said about running the Busch race because there's some great drivers out there that can't get these cars qualified because they just need more time on the track, and that really helped A.J. Allmendinger by running that Busch race.
Tony Stewart, we are being told, should come on the pit road this time by. Stewart trying to hold on as long as he could.
4700 second, 47. Here we come.
Now, this was Tony Stewart's worst case scenario. He needed that caution. Now he's lost a ton of track position. to Jimmy Johnson, and we just got to hope for the best now.
Let's go down to Mike Massaro.
Well, Doc, since making the shock adjustment and the sway bar adjustment, Tony Stewart said the car has been 1,000% better. Very happy with it. Unfortunately, though, this gamble will not pay off. He's on pit road right now. He gives up his track position as the team goes to work. They're going to make a slight chassis adjustment as well as a 4-tire change on the 20 car. They're done on the right side now. Left side service begins. The car's being jacked up and the 2 tires being bolted on, and he is finally away.
Another good pit stop of 14.3. We've been seeing these mid-14-second stops all night long. And, boy, Andy, these crew guys are really in good shape. I mean, they practice this stuff like crazy. Pretty impressive.
What's more impressive is it's 95 degrees out there still, and these guys have been pumping these jacks and hitting those air wrenches all night long.
Here's Casey Mears from nearby Bakersfield, California, making what should be his final pit stop. He was the leader as he heads down pit road. Alan?
Well, Andy Peachy would know if you don't have the car that's running up front contending for the win, what do? You try and engineer a strategy that can steal a win away. They were hoping, they pitted at lap 180 when a lot of the other front runners did not. They were hoping that after they ran several laps, they'd get a caution and everyone would pit. That would gain them some track position and allow them a chance to race for the win. Obviously, we stayed green. It didn't work out. So Casey Mears will pit here and give up his spot at the head of the pack.
Yeah, if you don't have a car to win, sometimes you try to just any kind of strategy to make it happen or steal one, as they say. And I've had plenty of them stole for me, and I've stole a few myself.
20 laps to go here at California Speedway. Jimmy Johnson hasn't won since May 6th. Could he pull it off? Back at California Speedway, laps clicking down. Sports Center coming up next. We'll have the baseball postseason push. Olympic gold for Team USA in 2008. How about Kobe and company being Joe Montana's sons? How about some talented high school quarterbacks from Joe Montana? Stu Scott and Scott Van Pelt will have all that coverage and more coming up on Sports Center at the conclusion of our NASCAR Nextel Cup coverage here in just 16 more laps.
Well, right now, Carl Edwards has got a fast car. Jimmy Johnson's holding on. It's starting to happen again to him. His car's starting to slow up. Kyle Busch is faster than Jimmy Johnson, but Carl Edwards is faster than the 5 car of Kyle Busch. So this is going to be a shootout. 16 laps to go. But Jimmy's got a pretty good lead, but he's starting to get run down now.
Like Carl Edwards ran completely down the apron and through that corner.
Dale, I'll tell you what, the 48 car Johnson, I mean, the same thing keeps happening to him. A little while ago, he had like a 3-second lead. Now it's down to 1.8 over Kyle Busch. But take a look at those lap times down there. I mean, Edwards is flying.
Yeah, Carl Edwards is really coming on right now. He's got a set of tires. It looks like really is working for him. Jimmy Johnson, the thing about leading the race right now is, yeah, he's fast on new tires, but now he's encountering a lot of traffic also. And it depends on where you catch that traffic if you can run the line that you want to. And so this is going to really get interesting. I wasn't sure that we were going to have an interesting finish, but I think Carl Edwards and probably even Kyle Busch are going to make this a 3-way battle, and we're going to really have something exciting.
Well, Brad, I tell you, the 99 car just got past the 5 car of Kyle Busch, and that last time by, John Johnson is just slowing down more and more yet.
Well, Carl Edwards is definitely coming. The question I have is how hard is Jimmy Johnson driving the race car? I mean, is he, when he gets the competition level that it creeps up to him, maybe he drives a little bit harder. I know there's nothing to save with only, 14 laps to go, but maybe he's just taking care of those race tires and waiting, keeping enough distance between himself and his competitors to give himself a chance to win here. But they are definitely gaining on him.
Important for these guys to be able to clinch a spot in the chase tonight. You do not want this to go to Richmond and have to worry about surviving on the action track at Richmond. Jimmy Johnson needed to finish 37th or better. Right now he's first. Anything can happen in the final 14 laps. Jeff Burton needed to finish 35th to clinch a spot. Kyle Busch 25th. And Clint Boyer needed to finish 2nd or better. He's back in 19th position. So right now, 3 of those 4 would clinch a spot in the chase, which means we would have 8 drivers in the chase, of course, going into Richmond. Whoa, a bit of a wiggle back there for the 31 car. And by the way, Jimmy Johnson's 5th win would put him at the top of all those drivers that are in the chase in terms of bonus points when the chase would begin. 31 car had a bit of a wiggle, Dave.
Yep, and he's been having some struggles here at the end, just doing everything in the world that he can do to try to finish this race further forward, but it's been a handful for him. And Burton is, there he is right now talking on the radio.
Holy crap, this thing's loose. All I can do is all I can do. I just gotta hope it stays long and it stays off for us. It's so loose right now. That's all I can do.
And that is a frustrating thing, Rusty, when the car is just not able to run as fast as you can and you're driving your heart out.
Well, he is just holding on to that thing for dear life right now. He's using the whole racetrack up, and as Dale knows, he's putting very little steering input into it, Dale. I mean, this car is real sideways, but it's fast right now.
Yeah, it really is. But, Rush, you know, at this point in time in the race, you want a fast race car. You're running your fastest lap, but you're tired. They've been out here for over 3.5 hours now battling these race cars in intense heat, and now he's having to fight a loose race car. So you know he's got a good grip on that steering wheel.
And speaking of fighting, Brad and DJ, how about this 8 car? If you're Dale Earnhardt Jr., you have driven your heart out tonight knowing you had to do the equivalent of a motorsports Hail Mary to get your car in the chase. He is back in 5th position with 11 laps to go, and he's really not gained a lot here. Still 128 points away from the chase.
Doc, but you really have to give him a pat on the back. This whole Bud team has really worked extremely hard. And like I said, Tony Eury Jr. told me earlier today, he said, Brad, we may be out of this thing, but I tell you what, we're going to work until the last flag is thrown and get the most out of this race team. And he's proud of the effort. And I tell you what, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he drove the salt out of that race car tonight, Dale.
Yeah, not only tonight, but these other races where they got behind. He had himself in position anyway. He was running in the top 5 of those races where they had an engine problem. So let's give him credit. He has driven his heart out at every single race. So we talk about tonight, you can't put it on just one time. He's done his job in the driver's seat every single week.
Absolutely.
Guys, I really got to believe that right now, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't make this chase for the championship, it's going to be a relief for him. He's probably going to try to win all the races he can and look forward to his new ride next year.
Yeah, you would think they'd want to put a period on the end of this year. It's been a tumultuous year, a lot going on, and just really, really difficult time. But they've all handled it extremely well. But I think you're right, Rusty. I think they'd like to close the door on this deal and move on.
Well, look who's sneaking in this picture right now, the 99 of Carl Edwards. He is not much faster the time before, but this last lap, 0.3 faster than Jimmy Johnson. And that 99 car is starting to look a lot bigger in Jimmy's mirror right now.
Carl Edwards, who is the NASCAR Busch Series points leader by a wide margin, trying to get this car into the chase. And how about maybe winning 2 championships, winning a Busch and Cup titles? He's hanging on here for the final 9 laps. Jamie.
And Carl Edwards knows exactly what lap times he's turning, whether he's in the back or running up front. But right now his team is telling him, you're the fastest man on the racetrack. Carl came over the radio and said, you need to move that car out ahead of me. That 83, I believe it's the 83, told him to move him out of the way. So they were going down to the pit to talk to the guys to ask him to move on over. You guys can see from better up there. I know it's not the 83.
You know, I mentioned earlier in the pre-race show, Dale, I said the fittest guy was going to win this race. And I said Jimmy Johnson had a great chance. I totally forgot about Carl Edwards. He may be the fittest guy on the planet. And you can see right now, he's up on the wheel. He's in the seat tight, and he's coming hard.
Yeah, it's hard to forget about him. This man works out constantly, and it's showing right now exactly what that's worth on the racetrack. And we talk about the shortest way around the racetrack that Jimmy Johnson was taking on the bottom of the track, where Carl Edwards was just on the apron. So I guess he's found even a shorter way around yet.
You guys, I tell you, talk about all that working out stuff. I know you got to be healthy, but I've never seen him make the car handle any better.
Spoken like a guy who never lifted a weight in his life.
I really haven't. I always paid attention to my car. You know, if I was in better shape, I probably could have run faster. But Andy, 99 car, every lap by, he's on the bottom, looking underneath the white line a little while ago.
We've seen him high, we've seen him low. We saw him run completely on the apron there a few laps. But you can't tell me this is the hottest race of the year by far that we've run. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the 2 fittest guys in the field are up front.
Well, I'm not going to argue that point, that's for sure. Jimmy Johnson's in incredible shape, and so is Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards, who won at Bristol, Tennessee. And how tough is that racetrack physically and mentally on the driver? Carl Edwards came to the front there and stayed, picking up his 2nd win of the year. Last week, can he get back-to-back wins? Can he get back-to-back championships? Can he win a Busch title and a Cup title in the same year? But right now, it's this guy here, Jimmy Johnson. What a week he had, coming back to his hometown of El Cajon, California.
Right now, the 99 car's not catching him much. He really was running Jimmy down for a good while. It's kind of stabilized right now. That last lap, about a 1/10 of a second faster. But guys, with 6 laps to go, Dale, getting there and passing him, that's 2 different things.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be able to get there. It looked a while ago that Jimmy Johnson was slowing down some, that maybe he had worn his tires out. But, you know, I think they brought up a good point a while ago. Was he holding back a little bit? And, you know, he might have been holding back just a little bit. You know, last week, I think some people talked about David Reagan bringing out a few cautions at Bristol, which is a very difficult place. But let's give him credit tonight. He's done a terrific job here. He's the highest running rookie tonight. And this is a young man that has a lot of talent. And as he gets more time in these cars, he's going to learn how to finish races off and be up front and eventually start winning these.
Yeah, I totally agree, DJ. David Reagan, a second-generation driver. His dad, a Cup and ARCA veteran. Now working building race cars and building Legends cars in Charlotte. 4 laps to go here to the checkered flag.
Well, right now we got 17 cars on the lead lap. Greg Biff on the 17th position. And it's a race between Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. That time by Jimmy Johnson, a faster lap by a 1/10 of a second. So, Andy, you got to know that Jimmy Johnson's none of those guys behind him, and he's just driving every single lap like it's a qualifying lap.
I guarantee you he and Carl Edwards are driving as hard as they can. These 10 bonus points that they get for winning these races right now are going to pay off in that chase, and they know it. They're trying to go as hard as they can to get them. And Jimmy Johnson and his team have done a great job tonight. Got to hand it to Chad Knaus to keeping his team rallied up front all night.
About 100 laps ago, Mike Massaro told us during a pit stop that Chad Knaus guaranteed these guys were going to win this race. I mean, I said that's pretty gutsy to make that kind of guarantee 100 laps away from the checkered flag. But by heck, you know, with 3 laps to go, they may just pull it off.
Every sport's about confidence, and you can't win unless you're confident. And this sport's no different. He's trying to just rally these guys up. He was very confident his team could do it.
3 laps to go.
Brad?
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right, Andy. I talked to Chad last week at Bristol, and he said, you know, we haven't run here that well in the past, but we've got a good race car, and we've got the attitude to get a win tonight. He was so excited, and they were really disappointed with a 24th place finish. But they come back into here, Dale, and I tell you, they're right back up on the wheel, right back up on their game.
Yeah, we might see that they're 6th in the points right now, but after next week with this win tonight, if they go on here in the next lap and get this victory, they're going to be at the top of the standings.
Absolutely. I tell you, he's back. Let's go back to the booth.
2 laps to go. Chad Knaus writes out of your screen. It's all about confidence and leadership, and he's got both in hand there for the 48 car Jimmy Johnson. He led his driver to a Nextel Cup title in 2006. He told his crew, we're going to win it here tonight. He told them 100 laps ago they're going to win it tonight. Jimmy Johnson, the young man from El Cajon, California, came back to his hometown this week for a charitable golf tournament. A celebrity golf tournament and a charity auction to raise money for Habitat for Humanity for San Diego. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame at his high school. First time he'd been back since 1993. And now on the final lap at California Speedway, Jimmy Johnson, the California kid, is going to do something he wanted to do here for a long time, coming home. Not only to visit the family and friends, but to go to Victory Lane at California Speedway. He has not won since May 6th, race number 10 at Richmond. But guess what? Tonight at California Speedway, race number 25, Jimmy Johnson takes the victory. Carl Edwards finishes 2nd, Kyle Busch is 3rd, Jeff Burton 4th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing 5th overall. He will be 128 points out of 12th position headed to the final race.
Going into the chase. Jimmy Johnson, you're the man. Good job.
Jimmy Johnson picks up his 5th win of the year, clinches a spot in the chase, and right now he would get the top seed in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Dave.
With Chad Knaus, who a Namath-like prediction halfway through this race that we're going to win. I guess that came true.
Well, sometimes you got to make those predictions, just get everybody motivated in the right direction. And you know, I just couldn't be proud of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. This car was actually wrecked in Chicago 4 weeks ago, where it probably should have won that race. And everybody at Hendrick Motorsports really chipped in, did a great job working on this car, getting new body, new front clip, new rear clip on it, getting the thing turned around. It's great to be able to win it for Hendrick Motorsports, Lowe's, and obviously the Jimmy Johnson Foundation, which just did a great job this week with almost $500,000 in donations to great charities. It's been a great weekend for everybody.
And the guy who motivates this team so much now has a little more motivation for them going into the chase, 10 more bonus points. And as you mentioned, Doc, top seed now.
Well, next week it'll all come. The race to the chase will come to a close. We head to Richmond International Raceway. They call it the action track for a reason. Of course, Friday night, 7:30 Eastern Time, it's NASCAR Busch Series action on ESPN2. And then get all your NASCAR Nextel Cup race action on ABC. Next Saturday night, we're going to have the Chevy Rocket Roll 400 at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
Home track, California. You know he's going to burn it down here.
Jimmy Johnson, now one of 8 drivers that have clinched a spot in the chase to the Nextel Cup. As we head to Richmond, still Clint Boyer, Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, and the 29 car who'll be back in 12th position. That is Kevin Harvick, still waiting to get in, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just hoping to get there. Alan.
And he just climbed out of his car. He's walked around the far side of it, so we'll follow him around that way and get a word from him while he talks to the team about his night. Car Chief Tony Gibson, who remember served as his substitute crew chief earlier this year. Junior, 5th place tonight. Thoughts?
Oh, it's hot. Tired. Real tired.
It was a very difficult race. It seemed like you, from your comments on the radio, you fought the handling of the car a lot, yet you were up there almost all night.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think that, you know, I'd like to thank my team. They worked hard, and it's so hot out there, you get aggravated, and you're never satisfied. But I'd like to think that they could run just as good without me, but I'd never be able to run this good without them. So I want to thank my team.
I know the last thing you probably want to think about is points right now, but it'll be 128 going to Richmond behind 12th place. The thought?
I don't know. I don't know much about the system. I never have. I never cared to. I just go out there and run as hard as I can. And, you know, don't look like we're gonna make it, but we ain't gonna quit trying until they say we aren't in the chase. But, man, it's a long day, hot, real hot.
Thanks for the time, Doc.
You can see how physically and emotionally drained Dale Earnhardt Jr. is climbing out of that car in his seat. He left nothing on the table. He put it all on this racetrack tonight.
I was just getting ready to say he left it all on the racetrack tonight. He gave it everything he had.
Everybody we've seen has got red faces. You can see the extreme temperature. Everybody. Jamie?
Well, I don't know about Carl Edwards, the fittest man in NASCAR, as the magazine say. He's not too flushed yet. What a night, Carl. You guys had that incident early on, and you bounced back from 35th all the way to 2nd. What does that say about your team going into these final races?
Well, I think it says a lot. I mean, I'm just so proud of my whole Office Depot team, all the Office Depot associates. You know, it's really cool. Sharp Aquos 500 would have been the race to win. They said they'd give us TVs, but I guess Jimmy's guys will get them. And just really proud of my guys. Everybody, you know, at Office Depot, and hopefully this chase goes as well as this race did. And also got to thank everybody at Back 40 Records. Thank you, guys.
We know you wanted to win this race. Everybody said you were the car to beat tonight. How upsetting or disappointing is it to not win tonight?
It's immensely disappointing. I mean, running second is terrible. Everybody saw what I did at Watkins Glen, you know, running off the track, trying not to run second. There's no gravel out here, so I stayed on the track. But, you know, like I said, I'm just proud of Bob. He's really beating himself up because he called me clear out of the pits, and we hit Montoya, and feel bad for those guys. But congratulations to Jimmy. I mean, this is it's a home track for him, and I just hope we run this well in Chase. It's going to be an awesome year.
All right, and Carl Edwards, 4th in points, the best he's been all season. Guys?
How physically fit is Carl Edwards? He's not even out of breath. He just gets out of the car, sweating a little bit there, given the kind of night and the way he drove that race car. But, boy, you talk about physical fitness, that's remarkable.
Yeah, that is remarkable. This guy here is in great shape, and you can see the difference. That makes a difference on the racetrack, too.
Well, it was a physical race tonight, that's for sure. Jimmy Johnson, fastest car, hottest race I can ever remember, guys.
Well, let's go down to victory lane where Jimmy Johnson getting ready to climb out.
And he's begun climbing from the car, and what a homecoming weekend for Jimmy Johnson, a true Golden State Warrior. Grew up south of here in El Cajon, California, and now picks up his second career California victory. But you had to work for this one. Your car was not perfect at the beginning. How much did you need to search around to find that right line that really suited your race car?
Well, the confetti machine works. We can see that. You know, it just was a long night. The track was changing. The 5 car and some guys can make the top work really good, and I just couldn't make it work long enough. I get a couple good laps, but I really focused on the bottom, and it paid off.
With the win, you now know that you will have at least a share of the #1 seed in the chase. How satisfying is that?
It's very satisfying. The season's all about a championship, especially when you get in the chase. We're fortunate to be in that situation, and it's time for the pressure to pick up. It's time for the hard work to start, and my guys are ready for it. Today showed it, and I can't thank Lowe's enough for letting me run the Jimmy Johnson Foundation logos on the car this weekend. To win here after our big tournament and everything we had this week, the foundation sticker on the side is a special day. So thanks to all the employee owners at Lowe's as well. It's been a few months since we won, and it's good to be back. And Carl Edwards is saying hello.
Guys, there certainly will be a lot of pressure on Jimmy Johnson, but he is the defending Nextel Cup Series champion, and it certainly appears he's peaking at the right time. Doc?
5th win of the year for Jimmy Johnson. It comes in his home stadium. Brett Musburger, take a look at these point standings headed to Richmond next Saturday night on ABC.
We are down to 13, Jerry. Only Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a chance to slip into the 12-man chase, which will start after next week's race. And I would dare say that tonight, Jimmy Johnson in the number 48 car served notice. He is ready to defend last year's championship. Victory number 5, and we congratulate him. And a reminder now to enjoy more NASCAR coverage next week on ESPN2 Friday. It will be the Busch Series race. So long, everybody.